cauchemar. Oh, je me lève dans vos yeux. Au clair de ma
Hello and welcome to the finals here of the PUBG Mobile Super League Europe. My name is John Allen. With me is Blank. You can see the players are getting locked in over on the stage. And we will be too. We'll be kicking off fairly soon with proceedings. We've had to wait a little bit longer than I know you guys are used to, but thanks for sticking with us because we are going to be heading on in very, very shortly. The road to the finals has been a rocky one for a lot of these teams. They have had their trials and tribulations in spades, but we have selected the best 16 of them, and they're all going to give it a good go, I'm sure.
That they are. They're going to give it a proper good whack over towards the top side of the lobbies. So far, we've had some very, very good gameplay. I think it is a weird one where we have the 12 matches played per team in the knockout stage, where you don't have a lot of time to get your points on board. I think we're quite lucky in the sense that I think the 8 teams that did actually go out here, John, they're probably the teams that I would have expected to have gone out, and also the teams that made it through to the top 16, the ones that I thought were most deserving. So we got lucky. I think we got lucky in terms of the teams we got towards that top 16, and I think it should be a very, very fun finals in terms of competitive gameplay. We have all the greatest hits here from PUBG Mobile at the top side from Pmsl EU. So yeah, very, very excited to get into it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. There's a couple of big names on the cards. We had a lovely little intro there. All the players doing their cool poses, making sure that we know just how badass they are at video games because of the way that they stand. I always love those videos. And to be fair, they do look pretty cool when they do that, right? Like they do. The media team knows what they're doing, but I always find it amusing just thinking about someone doing that in real life, like in front of you, and you're just like, what are you doing?
I think the thing for us, maybe not for you guys at home, but we've worked in esports quite a while now, and we've seen all these poses before. You know, they all come through every single time, but they still managed to make it look good. I thought in terms of an opener, that was kind of sick. Yeah. But yeah,
I like Sarah's like flexing over the head. That was new. I think that
was off the cuff. I think Sarah's a little bit of a wild card. Same with Redox. I think they'll bring something new to the table. So yeah, it's good. It's good. You can definitely see the personality in some of our players, which is nice to see. But yeah, we do have 16 teams here and 3 days ahead of us before we go over towards that smash ruling, right? So on the last day, it will be 10 additional points from the first 2 day scoreline of these teams. The first place, that would be. So say we went into the final day, first place team had 80 points. They would need to get to 90, and then any chicken dinners after that would result in them smashing through the boundaries and barriers here in PUBG Mobile and take themselves home the win there and then on the spot. And the tables would remain where they were. So it wouldn't give teams extra amount of time to get those additional points on board to maybe break into that top 4, because that is the difficulty with the smash rules, that it's all good and well in terms of just solidifying your position in number 1 right there and right then, but it does put a lot more pressure on the first 2 days to get into the top 4, because we could have the games and all the proceedings end on game 2 potentially on the final day.
That is true. We could just see that early finish. And of course, it's not just that first place team that can win it, right? It's not just the first place team that can break it and win via smash. It can be any team surpassing that boundary that is set by the first place team and then delivering the smash ruling. So technically, all the way down, I think technically all the way down in last place, you could still win by the smash ruling, which is kind of crazy in my book, although it would require a lot of things to go right? Because you could go into the final day with everybody on the same scoreline, right? You could just be on tiebreakers.
You could definitely. You're not wrong. You're technically not wrong. All right, okay. But I think if we were living in not La La Land, likely it would be a case of game 5. One of the bottom teams has really worked their way up. They had a lot of strong points that day. A lot of the top teams have sluggishly moved through the finals. In that case, yeah, absolutely could be a big old smash ruling for one of our last place teams. But by that point, they would be likely up towards the top of the lobby anyway, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Who are you thinking? Is there any team, let's say, out of this one that you think is the team that is most likely to not win on points but win on smash rulings? Is there like one team that you're thinking, these guys, I don't think that they can consistently win it, but there is a greater chance that they win it via smash?
No, not really, actually.
Okay.
I think potentially Thunder Talks, potentially. But again, I think that it's so weird where the teams that are getting the most of the chicken dinners, there are very consistent teams up towards the top side of the table. So I'm thinking S2G, I'm thinking Regnum Kaya. And then the teams that would be able to accrue the amount of points needed to get themselves into a situation where they could hit that smash ruling, like Thunder Talks, I think they'll struggle to hit that chicken dinner on the last day. I think the pressure will get to them. So yeah, I don't think right now I would pinpoint any one of these teams to be going through via smash ruling unexpectedly, at least, right? If you look at S2G, I think that is a team that I could quite comfortably expect to go through on a smash ruling on the last day, where they are just consistent. 2 chicken dinners a day. They've done that quite a few times this tournament. So I think it's not out of the world of possibility.
No, it is an interesting dynamic, and I think that with how the standings went down, it could be anyone's game. But let's head down to the stage to kick things off.
Karşılaşmaya veda etti ve Regnum Kaya Spor şampiyonsuz bir şekilde şampiyon olmayı başarıyor. Global Open'da şampiyon Regnum Kaya Spor. Ve maç bitti ve ekranda 4 tane aslan var, aslan! Şampiyon S2G! İşte böyle! Dokunma! Sayla bizi izliyor! Sayla!
Hello there, and welcome into the PUBG Mobile 2025 Super League EU Spring Finals. Make some noise! This is going to be glorious. Welcome in, everyone. We have got 3 days of action coming your way. One thing is guaranteed for sure. It is going to be wall-to-wall, back-to-back chicken dinners. My name is Adam Savage. I'm delighted to be stood beside my guy, Billy G.
Hanımlar beyler, 2025 Pmsl Avrupa Bahar finalleri için hepiniz bir kez daha hoş geldiniz. Önümüzdeki 3 gün boyunca hep birlikte tarihe tanıklık edeceğiz burada. Ben Mertcan Bilici, sahne sunumunda Adam'la birlikte sizlerle olacağım. Şimdi, back to you, Mr. Adam
Thank you.
Savage.
Thank you very much, my friend. Boy, it's getting hot in here. Let me catch you guys up to speed exactly what's coming your way over the next 3 days. Okay, 16 teams, $200,000 worth of prize money here as well. It is all to play for. One thing's for sure, whatever happens, we have a front row seat and we're going to see every single second of it together. But the creme de la creme, who will walk away with one of those 4 spots at the Esports World Cup this summer? We're going to find out very, very shortly, aren't we?
Burada 3 gün boyunca tam 16 takım, 64 oyuncu şampiyon olmak için $200.000 ödül havuzundan paylarına düşeni almak için ve daha da önemlisi PUBG Mobile World Cup'taki 4 takımlık yer için yarışacaklar. Bizler hazırız ve heyecanlıyız. Birazdan takımlar gelecek. Ama sizler takımlar için Hazır mısınız?
Yes, yes they are.
Yeah.
Are you guys at home ready to meet the teams? Because we are too. First up, a new challenger. They're not here just to push boundaries, they're here to redefine them.
Yeni bir meydan okuma. Sınırları aşmak için değil, yeniden tanımlamak için buradalar.
Pmsl Esports! All right, next up from PMNC to PMGO, they've left a mark at every stop. Now it's their time to make history at the finals.
PMNC'den PMGO'ya her turnuvada iz bıraktılar. Şimdi ise onlar için final zamanı. Black Esports!
On a roll. Comebacks are always special, the perfect mix of youth and experience here.
Geri dönüşler her zaman özeldir. Gençlik ve tecrübenin şekil bulmuş hali. Fenerbahçe Espor.
Confident, and they should be. Next up, a legend reawakens, the legacy of years now locked on a new target.
Bir efsane yeniden uyanıyor. Yılların mirası şimdi yeni bir hedefe kilitleniyor. Foot Esports.
Now, before the storm comes silence. Now that silence is breaking. Brace yourselves.
Fırtına kopmadan önce sessizlik olur. Şimdi o sessizlik bozuluyor. Thunder Talk!
Let's go. All right. Once world champions, now they are back for more. Fueled by the glory of the past, they're here to conquer again.
Bir zamanların dünya şampiyonu. Şimdi yeniden sahnede. Geçmişin ihtişamıyla geleceği fethetmeye geliyorlar. S2G Esports!
Right, now next up, they came quietly, but they're about to shake the stage and everyone will hear their name.
Sessiz geldiler, dikkat çekmediler ama şimdi herkes onları konuşacak.
İda Esports! I like all this confidence. I like it, Billy. Next up, familiar faces, fearless goals. They're not here to follow, they are here to lead.
İsimleri tanıdık, hedefleri ezber bozan. Kuralları bilen değil, yazan olmak istiyorlar.
Papara
Supermassive!
like what I see. Next, they fly high, lock onto their target. They glide in silence but strike with noise. They are coming.
Yüksekten uçup hedefe kilitlenir, sessizce süzülür, vurunca ses getirir. Onlar geliyor. Team Falcons!
Now, hunters better watch out because this time the prey is the most determined force on stage.
Avcılar dikkatli olun. Çünkü bu kez av sahnenin en kararlı gücü. Boars Gaming!
The master plan behind the silence, every move calculated. They've taken the first step, now it's time to write a legend.
Sessizliğin ardında plan, her adımda strateji. İlk adımı attılar, şimdi ise destan yazma zamanı. Bra! BRX Mumya!
They missed the plane, but they are right on time for the fight. The Warriors of Europe are here.
Uçağı kaçırdılar ama finalleri değil. Avrupa'nın savaşçıları burada. K1 Esports!
Always there, always consistent. Now they're on stage for a PMWC ticket. Their goal, being crowned as champions.
Her zaman orada, her zaman istikrarlı. Bu kez PMWC bileti için sahnede. Hedef şampiyonluk. Bushido Wildcats Next Rhea.
They emerged from the dark. Now they rise to rule over them all.
Karanlıktan gelen bir sessizlik. Şimdi ise her şeyi saracak bir yükseliş.
Kanara Esports!
Okay, just two teams left to meet. Next, success is a habit, and they're not done yet. Reigning champions of PMGO returning to continue their winning streak.
Başarının adı artık ezberde. PMGO şampiyonu zafer serisini sürdürmek için karşınızda. Regnum Karya Esports!
It is getting warm in here for a reason. They're coming in flames, burning to become the champions. Here they are.
Alev alev geliyor, şampiyonluk ateşiyle yanıyor. Fireflux Esports!
All right, we've met 64 amazing trophy, by the way, Billy. This is incredible here. We've met 64 players, all competing this weekend. Should we give it one more noise? Make some noise for the players one more time!
Oyuncular için karşılaşmaya geçmeden önce, sözü analiz masasına bırakmadan önce ama bütün salondan, herkesten çok yüksek bir çığlık istiyorum şimdi! Harikalar!
Yes! I love it. We love you guys out there. Without much further ado, we are ready for game one almost for now. Let's head on over back to our desk.
Şimdi analiz masasında sözü Scarlett ve Tankut'a bırakıyorum. Efendim sizdeyiz.
Thank you very much to the guys over on the stage for running out all of our teams, letting them stretch their legs before they get in that plane. Always make sure you stretch before you get on a plane. Very wise to be able to do that. Avoid any of that deep vein thrombosis nonsense. Don't want that coming in, especially when you're competing for the big old juicy wedge of money and that spot at the PMWC.
Yeah, deep vein thrombosis would really affect you in that case. You might have a very bad time trying to get that cash if you're dealing with that on the side. So, yeah, let's shelve that. We'll shelve that, and we'll look forward to our games here.
Oh, yeah.
It's good that they did stretch their legs as well, because they're going to be sat down for the majority of the day. I don't see many players standing up and playing, though I would quite like to see that as a new feature. From some of our teams, I would like to see them all stood up, looking intimidating, in a huddle, playing on PUBG Mobile. But yeah, we're going to be heading over to the games very shortly. We got to take a look at all of our teams looking raring and ready in the studio. The studio looks amazing. It's great to see them all in person as well. You know, we love LAN events overall. It's nice to see one here, the PMSL EU as well. Definitely back in PMPL, that wasn't the case. Here, though, on the other hand, boom, we're right back at it.
Absolutely. And in Istanbul as well, they are having a great time. It's just a shame they couldn't invite us, you know. It is what it is. We weren't allowed in. Only Adam was let in, and he looks like he's having a great time, to be fair. Look, did you see him leaning up near that trophy? I think he's got his eyes on it. I think he might be swiping it if he's given the chance.
Well, maybe. He could. I wouldn't recommend it.
Secretly, Adam Savage is Sarah from S2G. That's what's happened.
Or having a thief. Yeah. I do think the old thieving of the trophy trope is getting old at this point in time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, you know, if you want to steal a trophy, it's bad, because the whole point of a trophy is got to earn it, right? You earn nothing. That trophy holds no value in your hands.
That is true. I do remember, I think we were both at this esports events where a trophy did get stolen, and it was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
I think it was for a different game. But yeah, everyone was like, what do we do? They had to find a replacement trophy. It was crazy. Don't want that to happen. No. I think logistically for us, it would be a nightmare. But it's well guarded. It's in plain view. It'd be very difficult to take that one off the plinth unless you beat out the competition, and then you're very much allowed and, in fact, encouraged to lift that trophy if you're able to place first after the end of these 3 days of games.
Yeah, luckily as well for us that we have installed secret infrared lasers next to the trophy, in which case when it gets too close, it will launch itself down into the ground and be covered by a steel hatch, which is impenetrable to most blunt force. So don't worry, it is safe, it's under control. We have very, very good security measures here over at Pmsl EU. And hopefully,
and Maxman will run out and bite your kneecaps if you try and steal it.
Yeah, he is the last resort. At the end of the day. You almost saw him, but in a little corner of that stage there is actually just a small like ventilation shaft. That's where he's been holed up right now for 3 days. We gave him some ham sandwiches. You know, he should be fine. 2 liters of water. It's a stretch. He can make it happen.
And an Infinix GT30 Infinix GT30 Pro, so he can play PUBG Mobile the whole time. He's sorted.
Yeah, he is entertained right now. But looking back, here's our tournament format, which you have seen for a lot of the events so far. But we are finally here over at the Grand Finals that will be taking place on the 4th, 5th, and 6th of July. We've already spoken about it being an LAN event. There will be one champion only. No two champion, just the one. But as Adam Savage was talking about, 4 EWC slots, which is the big tickets here to head over towards EWC this summer to participate in the PMWC at EWC, which should be a fantastic time for any of our squads.
Absolutely. It's what everyone is going to be looking out towards. 18 matches to play, of course, because 6 matches a day. Multiply that by 3, you get 18. That's just the maths. And speaking of maths, let's take a look at the smash rule. We did talk a little bit about it earlier, but we've got days 1 and 2, which will be where we will set up that score line. So leading out of day 2, whichever team is in first place, whatever score they are on, will add 10 to that score, and that will be our smash score target. What does that mean? Well, if any team surpasses that smash score target, they are then eligible to win via the smash rule. Once you have passed it, and not before, if you get a chicken dinner, you win the entire tournament. You can't win the tournament via the smash rule if you get the chicken dinner and surpass the boundary at the same match. You need to do it again after you surpass that scoreline. So we'll be looking out for that in day 3 of these finals.
We talked about it before, but yet this is a major deal for a lot of our squads. It could make or break teams' runs over towards getting into the EWC. Those 4 tickets available, but if you were hoping on those last 2 or 3 games to shoot yourself a little bit further up those tables, that's not a possibility for you anymore if it all gets closed out there and then on match 2 or match 3. Here's our point distribution that you would be very, very aware of. 10 points for a chicken dinner, 6 points for second place, and 5 points for third. And it drops down dramatically from there.
Yeah, there you can see how that is all distributed. You need to make it to the top half of the lobby to be in for the points, and 1 elim is 1 point as well. So we'll be taking a look at how our teams are able to earn. During the league and knockout stages, some teams were a little bit more placement point focused. Some teams were a little bit more elimination focused. But in terms of the top of the tables, it felt fairly balanced in terms of what performances we were seeing. Teams, granted, weren't necessarily playing for those top spots. It was all about avoiding the bottom 4 slots in each of those scenarios. So we'll be interested to see how strategies develop potentially to play around that.
Up towards that top side as well. I mean, you are going to have to have those make or break moments, right? Where you're going to have to push a little bit further in terms of managing the amount of placement points you're getting, or if you're just going to go for the full send on the eliminations just to squeeze out those few extra points that are necessary to get in towards that top 4. And here is our prize pool. We've seen it a lot, but finally it matters here for us here in the finals, because it is 35 grand that these teams will be taking home. 20 grand for second place, 15 for third, and a cool 10 for fourth place. So there is a lot of money on the line here. $200,000 spent on these teams over the course of this entire tournament. There's MVP rewards. There is special rewards for MVPs in your own little category, like Gunslinger, like Long Shots, things like this, as well as the $250 that we have handed out for every single chicken dinner, of which there will be 51 up for grabs during this tournament.
Absolutely. They have already seen quite a few of them. Obviously, we've only got 18 remaining. $250 a pop each time. Will be nice to see how that all breaks down. You can see our teams getting ready, getting locked in. Looking at the table arrangement, I'm kind of a fan. I like these side-along tables to be able to look into the eyes of your teammates and feel that camaraderie with our admins standing guard. You can see the referees there in the back.
I want to make sure these teams do not get up to any secret business like stealing the trophy, but we already covered that base, right? But yeah, everyone's ready and raring to go. All the teams will be getting into the games shortly. Do
you think they've got yellow and red cards, these referees? I'd like that.
Probably not. Probably not.
No, that would be a bit odd. But let's take a look at what we've got in store today. You can see we are, of course, on the 4th of the month. We'll be kicking off day 1 with a Sandhawk. Back to the 6-match rotation. It is Sandhawk, triple Erangel, double Miramar, and they do, of course, sit like that for all 3 of our days of these finals.
Yeah, so we are mixing things up too much here in the finals. We came off from knockout stage, which I love personally, where we're throwing out different maps here and there all over the place, but we're back to something a little bit more regular, like you saw over in that league stage with Sandhawk, Erangel, into Miramar, and then finally Miramar. So very, very easy and quick to go for here in this tournament. So teams will be playing at those three Erangels at a time. It does add a little bit of an extra factor in there where if you're having a bad start to your day, you don't have the momentum. A lot of points are gathered over on Erangel. I'm sure if you're a big fan of the game, you'll know this anyway. But most of the points are gathered on Erangel, and that's the type of thing that can make you lose quite frequently. So I am worried for some teams that can't get that ball rolling, especially when we've already talked about these first 2 days being very, very important going through that last day, because there always is that fear of the smash rule coming into effect. So those 6 Erangels, those are the ones we're going to be keeping our eyes on, because Miramar can go a little bit sideways, so can Sandhawk, but Erangel is where you really want to be getting the vast majority of your points.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be getting 50% of your point scoring opportunities from Erangel, so you do need to make sure that that's going to go well. And I feel like if we're going to talk about point scoring opportunities on Erangel, we do need to talk about Papara Supermassive and the Falcons, right? This hot drop in Pachinki, we've criticized Falcons for sticking to it. They underperformed compared to Papara Supermassive in Pachinki, but it's going to affect both of these 2 teams in that scenario, right? It's going to affect both of their point scoring opportunities. And no, it's no longer the case that you can just say, you know what, it's fine, we can do a little bit shoddily on Erangel, we'll still be able to get into the top 16 based on our performance in general, we'll probably be okay. Now it's about getting to the top 4. This is where that hot drop becomes so much more important. Do you stick to it, or do you change it up? Do you go somewhere else and give the ground? That decision can be made by either Papara Supermassive or the Falcons. I'll be interested to see if it does stick to it, but I mean, from what we've seen in the past, I'm not sure. Yeah,
I think at the start of the tournament, the onus was on Papara Supermassive to leave, right? Where it wasn't their drop spot in the first place, right? You know, that drop spot's always been for the Falcons. However, with the shoddy performance, let's be quite frank, from the Falcons at this point in time, with the pressure behind their namesake as well going through to the EWC, I think likely now the shoe is on the other foot, and it will be the Falcons having to leave Pachinki. I think staying there just hurts you far too much. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary to go far. I think the Falcons can get a lot more done from elsewhere on the map. We've seen them move away from that position before, try and share it. Even then, though, Papara Supermassive are so hungry for the eliminations on the Falcons that it's hampering the Falcons terribly, because Papara Supermassive don't know how to play the early game. Like, realistically, what Papara Supermassive is like, okay, we now have the south side of Pachinki. That's great. We're going to give them church. Yes, they have a bit more high ground control over us. We have vehicles on our side. We can just leave. Let's not remain here until the 10-minute mark, scouting out when they're going to come see us. Let's just move and make these first initial rotations count. Because right now, the lobby is very center focused. I think you do need to be moving a lot earlier.
Yeah, I think that's not a terrible idea. And what will also be interesting is the fact that all of these teams will now be playing in this set 16-team lobby for the entirety of the 3 days, right? It's a dynamic we haven't seen over the course of this tournament. This specific lobby makeup, I think, hasn't happened in any of the stages. There has always been one or more of the eight eliminated teams in the mix as well, to change things up in terms of the dynamics. But as the days go on, the specific meta will start to develop, right? You'll start to see more targeted rotations, more well crafted and well strategized early game rotations. And so at the start, I would definitely agree in terms of getting out early, getting nice and central. But as you have a little bit more maturity in terms of how many matches this set of teams has played together, I think things may start to diverge moving in towards day 3.
Yeah, potentially. I think that's where the adaptations come through. But like I was saying, though, John, in terms of the Smash ruling being in place, like, is that adaptation coming too late? You're scared the entire time. I think now that you've played knockout stage, you've played league stage, it's been a pretty quick format. You've had a pretty sizable break as well between. It's not the longest break in the world between a knockout stage and a finals, but it is a break nonetheless.
And they'll be traveling as well.
Yeah, and they'll be traveling, so it's a little bit shorter. But during that time, what they should be doing is analyzing all the VODs, checking out which rotations they should make, which they shouldn't, what teams are surrounding them that will be playing against them day in, day out here in the finals, and how will they combat that. For some of our squads, it's definitely a big concern for me that they're just not going to adapt quick enough and go into day 3 and really struggle. I think that you have more than enough information now to work with to make those adaptations early and stick with them. I think the teams that will succeed the most here, John, are teams that just don't have to change anything. I think S2G is a great example of that all around. No one's challenged them on any spots on the map. They've had free rotates. And it's also weirdly not a team that I thought would get away with that. We've seen in the past Team Spirit get punished incredibly hard for the similar rotations that they make every single time over on Erangel, over on Miramar, over on Sandhawk, and teams played around them massively. S2G's just had free reign of the block this entire time.
Yeah, they've been pretty uncontested. I mean, they topped the tables on both league stage and knockout stage. Although, to be fair, knockout stage was a lot more closely fought, right? In terms of those points from the knockout stage, they were on 108. It was 106, 104, 103 with a second through fourth place scores. So only 5 points between first and fourth place. It was a lot closer fought. When you compare that to the league stages, they got 123 points, and the next closest was 98. So they had a massive buffer there. Other teams did step up towards the end of the knockout stages. In terms of getting one of those 4 qualification spots to the PMWC later on this next month, actually, it feels like S2G is definitely feeling themselves right now. They have obviously won both the stages. They should be looking for one of those spots. That should be where they've got their sights set. But in terms of teams that have made it to the top 4 both times in this stage, the only other team to do that in both the league stage and the knockout stage is Thunder Talk, right? And this is a little bit of an outside chance team, I think it's safe to say, and they've kind of impressed. I think it's right to point out they have managed to do what I think not a lot of teams expected of them. The one thing I will say about Thunder Talk, though, is that they are a little bit temperamental in terms of their performance. So if they're on a bad day, it can go catastrophically wrong.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that massively. And this is what I'm talking about earlier in terms of Thunder Talk's not a team that I would expect to hit that Smash ruling on the last day, purely because they are a little bit volatile as a team. You see them on their good days, and it's like, wow, that is a team that could probably go up against some of the best of them. And then you see them on the bad days, and you just think that they have no clue on what rotations they were doing and why. And that might seem cruel, or that might seem harsh. There were quite a few times where I noticed that there are a lot of set plays that Thunder Talks go for. And when teams play around those set plays, I'm like, okay, well, we're going to move Bishop to this position on the chessboard. Suddenly you have a problem. You have a problem with Thunder Talks because they've gone for the old Papara Supermassive opening gambit, but it's not worked out because there is a counter attack there. So yeah, I do think that when you look at that for Thunder Talks, what I'm hoping that has happened during these last couple of days, let's say, I'm hoping that what they've done is really look at strategy, because I think strategy is where they struggle. I think in terms of individual skill and that moment-to-moment gameplay, they're certainly some of the best in this lobby, right? In terms of just skill level, incredibly good. individual skill level as well, in terms of the movements they're making and how they back each other up. It does just feel like a very stacked squad that's making it work off the back of just having these pop-off players on the team. I'm hoping to be proven wrong, though, during this tournament.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it would be lovely to have something crazy unfold, like, you know. Well, actually, to be fair, I was about to say Falcons winning, right? Which is, I think, not unfair to say. It might be a little bit crazy at the moment. As a team that could contest, I think it's still true that the Falcons have got that potential, right? We talked a little bit about it just before. This is a team that has got pedigree, right? They did really very well at PMGO earlier this year. They have managed to maintain as a roster fairly consistently, but for whatever reason this time around, it's just not working. I mean, they're bringing in their newer player, bringing Koa into the mix. Seems like they're still trying to figure out exactly how he fits in, and maybe that could contribute. And I hope that they've managed to figure it out, because it's kind of do or die if they want to get to the global finals at the PMWC.
For Falcons, there's still hope. There's still hope for that team. Like I said, I do think that the shoe is on the other foot now, where they have to move out Pachinki. But I don't think they're necessarily a bad team. I think they're a team. You know what I will say about them, which I really do like from the times I have been able to speak to them, is that they're a very humble team, where they're very quick to own up to the mistakes that they've made and what could have gone differently. I think that's very important in a team. So in terms of maturity, it's certainly there for them. I think when you look at other squads, when things go really badly, they're like, well, what could we have done? There's nothing we could have done better. We're a pretty good team, and we just got unlucky. And that really does affect you in the long run, because you never pick up on your mistakes, you never fix them, and it's why you see these teams stick together for 2 seasons and then just crumble. That's exactly why that happens, because no improvement's happening, and they're just bashing their head against the wall. For a team like Falcons, on the other hand, because they are so humble and quick to improve, that's the big benefit. And I think that's why this little break in between the knockout stages and the finals itself is going to be so important for that squad.
I'm sensing players picking up their phones. They've got their big old headphones on. Oh, that looks like he's controlling his character. Is he running around in the pre-match lobby? Of course, first match up will be Sandhawk. The teams will have revised their drop locations. I can see it. Can you see it on his phone? He's getting ready. I think Sandhawk's just around the corner. The plane paths. I can see a plane path, Blank. Oh, it's all very exciting.
Oh, we might be getting into it. We might just be getting into it here for our first game of the day. All the teams were sat down and ready to go, and there is our Sandhawk banner on the screen. We're going to be jumping right into our first game of the day.
There we go. Southwest side up to the northeast. We are kicking off the finals here for day 1 of the grand finals of the PMSL Europe. And it is, of course, Sandhawk. We'll take a look at where our teams are going to go. Are we going to get any early drops? Are we going to get any edge guarding, bridge camping, river crossing mayhem in our future? We'll have to wait and see as we head from Sami up to Mongnai.
And the Falcons dropping out early. We talked about them a lot. There were quite a few other teams that we didn't really get a chance to touch upon. For instance, Fenerbahce, or one. Very, very good team. Very good, solid team. I think there's a squad that really fixed a lot of the mistakes coming through from the league stage. They did look weak. They did look weak in the league stage. Come knockout stage, they looked much, much stronger. They were playing off the back of one another. There's still weak links in that team. I won't deny it. But I think that overall, they do seem to me like a squad that could make it to the top 4. Which is incredible, considering that I do still consider there's some weak links in that squad.
Ooh, a little bit of a scrap occurring there. Heading down on the south side. I think that's between K1 and Fenerbahce. They are still a little bit of a standoff as it goes, but got a little bit more time to develop it. Unfortunately, it looks like there has been a casualty. As I believe K1 have lost one of their players, Fenerbahce picking that one up and seeing how much further they can get as well in this little engagement. It looks like it's not going to be easy to disengage from it either, Blank. They're sat in this compound together. They're going to need pickups from the rest of their team.
K1 just about made it in, by the way. to the finals. If you weren't keeping up to date with the knockout stages and the league stages, K1 came out swinging during that first week. Going into knockout stages, it looked a lot worse. They ended the league stages on 80 points and just squeezed in over on the knockout stage. They have a lot to prove here in the finals overall. Caprice does get handled by Savian. A lovely nade sent over the top. Won't fully flush him out just yet. Depending on the amount of medical supplies, might not be refreshing that health bar anytime soon.
Looks like he's going to need extraction here, and it's not going to be easy either. With Fenerbahce across the road, how do you even get into this position tactically safely for K1? It's going to take a while before they can really mount this offensive. I wonder if they're just trying to burn time, right? Like, are they just saying, you know what? There's 2 players not looting for you guys there. There's only 1 of our players here not looting. We have the advantage in terms of the numbers that can come in to get that backup. Just wasting a little bit more time for them. So maybe, potentially, that's something that they could consider. BWNRX clashing with Barsai. And seems like winning it out as well with the DBS. Nice one.
Rods on our 3 at the moment. This is the team that I think has just somewhat cruised through the majority of these games in league stage as well as the knockouts. Knockouts, it looked pretty bad, honestly, at one point, but able to get some good elims on board. Get themselves back into it. But yeah, I think for Bra, I don't have high expectations for this team. Hoping for them to prove me wrong, but this current moment in time, I'm not expecting it. Foot, on the other hand, up 4, absolute legend of a player. Looking incredibly good. I mean, you look at this team and you're more looking over towards Docker Machine as well as Yekta as veteranship there. But it is up 4 who has really surprised and definitely assisted the team in their approach. Going a lot away with a huge amount of clutch moments on that squad. It's great to see.
Ooh, okay. Ragnum Kaya trying to move up from Painan over past ruins, but Kara are on the bridge camp there. Trying to slow them down. It looks like they're safe for now. K1 finally having to do something, and it is going to be Simple Domak to find Caprice, who has been hiding behind this building for so long. There was no backup to be found, and K1 lose a second player as we hop back over to the Kara bridge hold on the southwest island. The circle did pop up towards that northwest island as well, Blank. It's not unlikely to finish there, so Kara having a hold over this area could be pretty impactful.
Ragnum Kai want to get through. And all the time that's delayed here is more time the teams will rock up over towards Ragnum Kai's spot on the map. See Black Esports moving in alongside as well. I think it's a really good thing to highlight here, actually, John, because Black Esports haven't had the most tremendous performance throughout the entirety of the tournament. However, they've been consistent. On top of that, I will say that their team play is phenomenal. The way they bounce off one another is really nice, and it's something I'd love to see more in other teams. It's a team that succeeds because every single one of those players has each other's backs. The way S2G plays is very differently, where they play this 2-2 style where you have 2 players holding off on the side, 2 elsewhere, and they occasionally support one another. I would put Black Esports much more in the camp of being a 4-man squad that is really capable of taking those off angles and supporting each other on those pushes. So even when trades go badly, there is always a possibility to retreat and to recuperate energy.
Thunder Talk having transitioned over, I believe, to that northwest island now. A little bit ahead of S2G as they moved out from Paradise Resort. They've headed west towards the compound. This is a very powerful compound, but unfortunately it's on the edge of the circle, which does diminish its capacity to have an impact. However, it does control that North Bridge crossing. As teams try to make their way through, I'm sure that may be a bit of a sticking point. Reckon Kaya, so they're satisfied right now to just chill in their little river valley and play a little bit quieter for the time being. Thunder Talk a little bit ahead on that northwest island right now. Not too many more players going down. I think it was just a player from Barce and the 2 from K1 that we've seen fall so far. So we'll have to wait a little bit more for things to kick off.
Nice spot from Poser. This is a very cheeky spot. Obviously, he's on an island at the moment, so he does go down. Not really a massive amount of support for him. I like the way that Kara right now are just closing the grip on towards Regnum Kaya. They're going to struggle to get themselves out of here. And it is definitely sort of a vice being applied now to Regnum Kaya overall.
With a flying pickup there against the overlook from Striker. Seems successful. Goes for the reload, and there's an answering shot from Hamzy. What a nail of a shot to the head there. Beautiful. Up towards the northern side. The circle's pretty nasty, though. So S2G going to have to get a move on. They get the flush onto Striker. That was crazy from Hamzy to be able to pull that one off.
Very surprising. I mean, Hamzy G is just one hell of an aimer. Extreme distances as well. That's why he loves Miramar. Definitely a Miramar player, that guy. With that circle, you're right. It is a crazy shift. By all means, it felt like it was going northwest, right? So it coming down towards that south side, encompassing ruins, which is a very awkward spot to play in. Fireflux quite pleased with the position there with the hold.
I mean, Kara stocks just went way up as well. They control that bridge. They've got,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
they've got a lot of control over towards that north side from it as well. Regnum Kaya being sort of a buffer zone for them. Regnum Kaya unlikely to want to get too aggy from their position, as the circle has sort of helped them out there. And we're going to be in for a tough time otherwise. I feel like Kara right now are in prime real estate to get points on the board, but it is going to be about getting points on the board, because I think that at some point, one of these points is going to fall for them. You could see they're fairly split on a 2-1-1. It's going to get dangerous. I said Regnum Kaya didn't want to get aggy. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think for Kara, the difficulty they run into here is that they've been set up to cross the bridge, right? With Poser off in the distance behind the bridge, that's where they really wanted to anchor over towards. So now they're looking for an initial pick. Initial bit of damage. If Silas goes down to the shots ringing through from Poser, and CEO Leia can quickly follow up on that and get a flush. Similarly, you know, we can go back on the other side of things where Poser's able to hit that flush.
I think it was the first nade from CEO later that tagged Silas so low. 2 nades and not getting the knock is pretty unfortunate. He's actually out of nades as well. Pause in the meantime, trying to play the corner here, and they meet the wrath of Pusher. He goes low, but he's going to hold down that fire. And will be able to burn them down. 2 players falling in his face. CEO later, crawling ever forward. Silas spotted, steps up, auto shotgun. A little bit far for the insta-knock, so waiting for them to push onto him. Kara as well, flexing out that trifecta compound.
Kara move back. But Boars, easy pickups. Very, very easy pickups there. 2 elims start off the day. Lovely stuff versus Ida. They're going to struggle because of that. Again, Ida, I think that throughout the majority of the tournament, as a up-and-comer team, I would call them. 100%. They've done very, very well. As we went further and through, we cut out more and more teams. Ida struggled more and more. Poser goes down, though. Again, this is why I was worried about the position. The end goal was always the bridge. And now you have a case where a lot more teams are starting to squeeze themselves in towards this area. And I think Regnum Kaya kind of have the better end of the stick here. Kara's so split apart from one another. They were never expecting people to come back down the bridge, right, John? They were expecting people to come across the bridge.
Yeah, that is kind of true. So take a look at our next map circle pop. It does again go south, so fully isolating that northwestern island. Will not be played into the next circle, so everyone will have to go for a new crossing. We'll have to wait and see who's going to be able to make that successfully. You've got Boars, you've got Black Esports, you've got Bra, you've got Barse, as well as Thunder Talk on the northern side. BWNRX as well, playing from that river crossing compound, will have to transition out to the hill on the southwest. But I feel like holding out the teams to the north is probably a better time for them on that compound.
Yeah, likely. I think that's a good way to look at it. I think you're looking at Falcons as well, right? towards the bridge side. There is plenty of positions they could pick it up, but we'll see where they want to actually head over towards. A lot of prominent teams as well in this final circle. Regnum Kaya, Fireflux, Fenerbahce, as well as Paparazzi Master coming in. K1 currently holding out S2G and Painan. Curious to see how that pans out. At the moment, S2G has lost one player. Found an elimination of their own.
S2G, I mean, they swept all the way out. They were on the northwest bridge, leaving from Paradise Resort, and they've swept all the way back down and around on the main. Black Esports getting torn apart as they try and crash into Regnum Kai. You can see Fireflux just looking on, thinking, what the hell are you guys think you're doing? You're rolling straight into the Hornet's Nest, and Regnum Kai happy to pick up the points.
Regnum Kaya just pushed immediately towards this building. This was a very, very fast rollout from them. It has to be said. Remember, they were locked in with Kara, and they made a very quick decision to head here, one of the few safe locations on this northwest side. I think in terms of a landing spot, great. They will have to weather some big nades, though, coming their way. Already taking a knock, but should be easily reservable. Far side taking some more damage. That's from Nico on Thundertalks, who are pretty bruised and busted up here. But Nico down now. And 2 players up for Thundertalks. A lot of 2 elimmers this game, John.
Yeah, teams are starting to shred down to size a little bit. With just Nihat, though, to face, you can get the res out in stage 3, but with only 30 seconds before the blue zone is unresable, it is going to be a little bit of a race to get Nico back up, and I think they are... Have Thundertalk lost another? Looks like they may have done. That is getting dangerous there, but Nihat does go down. Thundertalk can carry on for a little bit longer. Falcons, in the meantime, they are covering this western side of the circle, Blank. They've got a lot of control, a lot of space to play with. Fenerbahce have moved in from that south side. They'll be taking a look out there. But the 2-2 split right now for the Falcons, pretty powerful.
I think for the Falcons, if they're able to get a strong game here on Sandhawk, it will be a big blessing for them. Sandhawk is a map that they have struggled with throughout the entirety of this tournament. Getting a good start here will be nice. Again, you can't really blame Falcons too much for having terrible Sandhawks throughout this event, because every single Sandhawk that we've seen has either been towards that northwest island or up towards Cow. Without fail. It's been almost hilarious how many times we've headed up towards Tap Mock. So Falcons have had, from Sami, the longest rollout to get there. So finally we get a southern shift on the circle. And even at the start of this game, right, John, it was over towards the northwest mountain. Falcons probably sighing, oh my god, not again. The circle takes pity upon them, and this will give them a good game off the back of it. I think my main curiosity, though, is how well do Falcons do off this game. If there's something like this, you have to capitalize.
It's Falcons and it's Fenerbahce as well. It's sort of the same story, not necessarily in terms of what they've been able to do previously on Sandhawk, but they have got a central compound here. The run out from Ruins is what I'm worried about. For these teams up on the northern side, you've got a lot to navigate, right? There's this massive cliff wall that sits on the south edge of that Ruins area. It's so open. As soon as a team takes a shot at you, it's open season. It's really, really difficult to move around, and you are funneled into the 2 exits, right, to the west and to the east of that cliff face. It creates a crossfire that's nigh on impossible to try and breach. Regnum Kai are trying to get across, and you can see Fireflux, they've been here for ages, right? They've been here forever. They're just not going to let you move. They will drag you back down and make your life so hard.
Where Fireflux is, if it moved away from Ruins, they were going to go down. So what Fireflux needs to do right now is pick up the points. Which is why they are putting so much stock, so much ammo over towards Regnum Kaya. There's plenty of team shots coming through here. They know they need to earn points now before the circle does move away. There is still a fairly high chance that we center up over towards Ruins, in which case Fireflux has a great time. But I do appreciate that they're not just sat inside Ruins at the moment waiting for that to happen. They know they need to absolutely strike out. They need to cause casualties around them. So there is no hope at a team overtaking their spot towards the center of Ruins, which I'm a big fan of at the moment.
Yeah, it's a difficult task, though. Not too many teams are going to get too close to you. The circle does go away. It doesn't keep the Falcons in either. They're going to have to push over towards Fenerbahce. In the meantime, The Boars are trying to encroach on the northern flank, but right now the Falcons are in control. They've managed to get 2 knocks over towards the Boars. They haven't suffered any casualties yet, Blank, but that could all change at the drop of a hat, especially against a team like the Boars. Another rundown comes through as Ralph rolls through, and there is just one more player now on the back lines to try and handle. This is fairly solid from the Falcons. I'm liking it on the western flank. They're going to have to get a move on in about, what is that, a minute? Or is that just the 10 seconds? I'm not too sure. But either way, they're going to be happy to just hold that side and relatively unscathed.
Yeah, what needs to happen here, though, John, is there needs to be a big wrap from them down towards the south and capitalize on the fight between Papara as well as K1. It's currently going on. That fight has a timer on it, though. The fact they haven't been able to finish up versus the Boars is a little bit of a worry for the Falcons themselves. 5 elims, though, still decent in terms of the elimination category. S2G struggling. Would like to get some knocks and flushes off the back of this one, but unlikely to see S2G to go much further into this game. Kata were able to move out. They took a little bit of a slower approach in towards this circle, which has benefited them versus the approach Regnum Kaya took.
Fireflux have managed to get across the open area near ruins, Blank. This is pretty incredible that they've managed to get this far, but they do have to go a little bit further.
Good. This is what I want to see from Falcons. They rock up to this. It's a perfect opportunity. S2G is currently fighting off against Papara Supermassive. K1's in this area as well. It does require the Falcons to put up a good fight, though, and Ralph going down immediately and getting flushed. That's not good news for them.
But in the way of Fireflux as well, a little bit risky. Ralph goes down. It looks like Redox is going to fall to the fire as well as K1 pushing on through. There's ragtag remnants encroaching onto their space, and the Falcons are suffering heavily.
I don't want to see what's happening over there. Now, Valo goes down. I think there's just one more team on that side, and that's the Falcons out. Oh, it was a good opportunity to move down, but I think that maybe they went into it a little bit too headstrong. We posted up just a little bit, figured out the situation. There were 3 teams in that area, and it should have been easy pickups for a 4-man team. That's a misplay in my book.
That is unfortunate, but they do get 6 elims on the game, so they don't go home empty-handed. We're into the placement points now. And I feel like this is Fenerbahce's game to lose, right? They have this western side compound. They do need to get a little bit of a foothold outside. You can see that Sulke is putting up that outpost. They can look to transition away from this area now. Nobody else on full force. Nobody else has that full team. And Fenerbahce looking pretty sturdy.
Kelsey goes down, 7th place, 2 eliminations. Not a wild amount of placement points, but it's something. It's funny to me that Boars gets Tulika towards the 6th. The Falcons, in fact, will be the ones to go down before them. The Simple Doma will shut that down. Quick, smart.
Nice.
Foot still alive too. Trying to bend this circle to their will. Quite working at the moment with BWNRX coming out from some sticky scenarios versus S2G. One player is extremely low, but right now they're making it work.
Kamikaze thinks he's got a slither but doesn't quite catch it. Goes for the spray down. The answer, easy for Bad Boy. Catches him on the step out. Now Kamikaze is out in the open. That is a dastardly place to be. We'll see if he can turn things around, but I just don't think so.
Savian. Nade in hand. This could be Fenerbahce's game to take. Honestly. Very, very strong in the way they rotated from the eastern side. I do think that for Falcons, there was a possibility. Again, this has been multiple times in the past where Falcons have refused just to pick up a nice compound.
Kakali seals the deal against Foot. They will fall in 4th place. And BWNRX wanting to try and res as many as they can, but the Blue Zone's pushing them in. K1 surviving up and to 3rd place guaranteed is pretty nutty. Remember, of course, they were on 2 players very, very early on, and now they're going to put pressure on the south side of Fenerbahce. They've got 7 elims.
It's big. It's very, very big right now. Playzone will take down Kine, but he was left behind. Now, where Kakali went over to try and pick up someone else, in this instance, it is just 1 player left for BWNRX. This should be an easy finish here for Fenerbahce. K1 get themselves a lucky pickup over towards second place, potentially. It does look like Fenerbahce is looking their way first.
Easy for Bad Boy. Down and dirty, and they haven't spotted him. This could be nasty. This could be dangerous. He's now into the crossfire. Kvik waiting to step up, launches some ordnance forwards, drawing the attention. He goes down, and it's all up to Easy for Bad Boy. Third place, they're trying to lock in second, maybe. Allow him to sweep through. When does the backstab happen, though? You've got to think the value of getting an Elim here, pretty high. Sure, you can tag the backline, and Solke is going to think he's completely safe.
Come on.
But surely you go for Solke in this spot.
This is very... Well, he's just waiting for the second place, isn't he, really? He knows that his teammate's down. As if they haven't seen him yet.
I mean...
Yeah.
Big shade on K1 for that. They played 7 Elims up to third place. That was an easy knock and flush. That's another point, right? And that is a huge difference maker.
But you are getting so many more points from just getting second place.
Really, though? Are you? Fenerbahce do close it down. I mean, you ladder up from 5 to 6 points. Like, you get 1 point.
Yeah, but the idea is that he gets second place and then he gets the Elims. I think it's fair enough for him to wait. I think it's absolutely fair enough for him to wait.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, they were sweeping. They didn't know his position. He's looking for second. Then he tries to pick up some eliminations because they don't know his location, but they wrap back down. I think that's more Fenerbahce just not being able to find where Kakali was playing that entire time from BW NRX. So, yeah, nicely done. Very, very nicely done there. Fenerbahce taking themselves a chicken dinner, which I do think could have been in the hands of the Falcons equally.
Yeah, I think you're right to criticize the Falcons there. They didn't go away empty-handed. They got 6 points on that match, but it could have been a whole lot more. There were a lot of like solos and duos on that south side as well, and K1 contributed to the fall of the Falcons as well in that scenario, which it makes it kind of all the worse, right? You're not even facing against a full team. It's a bit of chaos on that south side. So sure, they get 6 points, but they could have been where Fenerbahce was, or at least where K1 was.
Yeah, even just that push that they made up against the boys on K1, S2G, as well as Papara Supermassive, it could have been way better. Could have been way, way better, in my opinion. There was a huge opportunity for them to take that fight and win it. I don't think K1 was in the best of spots. I don't think Papara Supermassive was in the best of spots. I think for Falcons to lose that as a 4-man squad, it just feels clumsy. Clumsy is probably the word I'd use for it.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's pretty astute. I liked their split. I liked their fight against Boars even for the Falcons on the west side, but it wasn't to be. They were one of the highest point earners on this match, though, and if you could put up 6 points a match every match, and then have a pop off or two maybe over the next few days, that's going to see you pretty solidly, and they should be quite okay with that. So we'll see if they can turn things around. It's probably the best performance we've seen from the Falcons on a Sandhawk so far, even if they did make a bit of a misstep. But we know what's around the corner for them as well, right? It's Erangel. And that is where they're going to have to cast their minds because of that Papara Supermassive engagement. Looking at Fenerbahce, they didn't really have to do anything super fancy there. They got into the compound. The circle went to them. They held it very well, and they were able to flex out. The thing I think they did best was not just sitting inside that walled compound, right? They knew that they had to put outposts out to be able to transition away from that compound when they get pushed out of it. And I will give them credit there. I think that was really heads up. And Fenerbahce are a team that really stepped up towards those knockout stages, right? They placed in 4th, 103 points, only 5 points behind first place S2G. So Fenerbahce still on a little bit of a high.
And Fenerbahce, I was very pleased with the performance over towards that knockout stage. I think they're a strong team overall. I don't think that... I think, like I said, I think there's moments where they struggle. There's moments where they're having difficulties in terms of their end games. I think as the tournament's gone on, it's felt like they've got more and more comfortable with how they want to play these scenarios out. So really, really glad for them. Massively glad for them, in fact.
Yeah, it's great news for them to be able to close that one down. I didn't quite catch how many eliminations Fenerbahce were able to find in those final moments, but they got at least 3, right? Just at the end,
at least
taking down K1 and
I think it was like 8.
Kakali.
I think it was 8.
Okay,
8
so a pretty
maybe.
decent chunk there. K1 as well, getting a decent chunk of points, and that's a good result for a team qualifying in 15th place from those knockout stages.
Yeah, 8 elims, chicken dinner as well on top of that. So 10 points total with the 18. So that's nice. It's a nice start for them. I do think it was quite interesting that game there on Sandhawk, the amount of teams are able to get eliminations of their own, because we've seen like 21, 22, 24 pointers over on Sandhawk. But there was a crazy amount of squads that got 2 elims here, 2 elims there, 3 elims over there. So pretty wild. Let's take a look at our MVP of that match, and it was easy for Bad Boy with the 4 elims, 771 damage. I think that, again, he was one of the key players on the squad that really held back Falcons when they pushed in. If it wasn't for that, I don't think K1 gets half as far into that game, at least towards that end game where he's potentially getting himself a second place and some more points. So well played, Dave. And he has been a strong force on K1 throughout all of this tournament, in fact.
I mean, especially when you consider that K1 were playing as a duo from very early on into the game, right? They were able to, they weren't able to hold on to half of their team. So easy for Bad Boy there, topping both the elim count and the damage count. But I think it was Kvik who was playing as a second. He got 3 elims on that game as well. So big credit to those two for being able to carry K1 so deep into the match. For Regnum Kaya, the nade elims came through and they were able to transition away from that river basin, coming through for Loxy. Taking a look at our winner stats, you can see fairly low elim count there. You were, I think just, so they were on 7 elims there across the board. So a 17-point match, it's good. It's not huge, but it's the most points anyone got this game. So credit to them.
It's less than what I thought, so that is even more surprising for me. Where on 2 seconds,
IDA saw the roll-ups there. A couple of these mad dashes across the river. It always makes it hard. But Black Esports running straight to Regnum Kaya, who did handle themselves very well on that northern side of the Ruins compound. Were able to stay alive. Nicely done, but Regnum Kaya really struggled to transition away and did go down in the process. I was surprised that Fireflux were able to get as far as they did, but then they didn't quite get all the way past foot as they tried to transition away from that Ruins position as well. A couple of, as you said, 2 elimmers, 3 elimmers across the board, and that's what you like to see, especially when the circle's like, I'm going Northwest Island, guys, and then it's like, actually, I'm going Southwest Island, guys. That really does mess with people's heads, and does lead to the scenario that we saw at the end, where it's just one team who was like, well, we've been here all along, we've got all 4 of our players, we're chilling, we're Fenerbahce, we've got the points.
I think it's in that sense, it's quite forgivable that Falcons don't pick up that compound that Fenerbahce went to, and we give them a hard time for it. But I think looking back on it, where it was heading towards that Northwest Island in the first place, so they angle themselves over towards that western side. Fenerbahce's moving through from the east, so by the time they get to that compound, the circle's already moved back down towards the South Island, in which case they just stop short of heading up towards the northwest side. Whereas Falcons don't have that luxury, because it technically would have been pretty crazy for them to have just sat in that compound waiting for the next circle. They would have much rather got themselves into a stronger position on that northwest side. So yeah, I do think it's a bit more forgivable for the Falcons instead of those early game choices and decisions. The late game I'm still a little bit concerned about. Overall for Fenerbahce, yeah, wonderful game. Very wonderful game from them. Even more so for me, it's BWNRX. Like, I don't think anyone expected on that map of where they were playing, from where they were coming. 14 points on that game is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that second place really helping out, but their position on the trifecta compound, controlling the teams to the north, they're able to rack up quite a hefty elim count there, earning a lot of points for themselves. Maybe not a winning position, sure, but certainly one that you can put a dent in those points tallies. Front page there, you can see ends at 5 points with Papara Supermassive, and it does trail off, and that is what we were talking about, those 2, 3, maybe even 4 elimmers coming on through. It's only Black Esports who went down on a crash to Regnum Kaya, who didn't get any points. They are yet to leave the starting blocks.
Yeah, one of the few teams to have that happen to them. Black Esports down with 16th. Really rough for them. I want to see a little bit more out of Black Esports. Again, it was a tough run for them from where they were coming from. But S2G also with 3, TTQ, Regnum Kaya, Ida, all teams that we sort of expect to see up towards the top. Tough circle though, man. Tough break on that one. So you can't be too unhappy with these squads.
No. What's interesting to me about Black Esports is that you look at their knockout stage scores, right? They get 30 points on day 1. They get 41 points on day 2. They go into day 3. They get 9 points on their final day. That is atrocious. And if they're going to continue that record, if they've had a little bit of a downturn, if something's broken within them, I don't know if they could. I mean, I hope they can fix it, right? But we'll have to keep an eye on them for the rest of today. They qualified in 20th place from the league stage, right? So they are a team that has seen the bottom of the barrel, and we'll hope to see them scrape themselves up in the matches to come. Here's our top 4 gunslingers on that match. Obviously, easy for Bad Boy, topping the damage tables. Will be at the front here, with Scarface not too far behind.
Yeah, Scarface from Fireflux there. Again, they were taking a lot of shots from Ruins early, as was Madcap, right? We saw that. They had to try and cripple a lot of the squads around them so that they could make their way out in the end. I don't think it was happening. That wasn't the case. So, yeah, fantastic stuff from Madcap as well as Scarface to get as much damage as they did done. Koa, I think, is going to be remaining there. On that side for Falcons going forward. I think he is putting in a fair amount of work for the squad. And I hope that they do keep him on side because he's an important factor in that roster right now. I think some of the other teams are not feeling quite as warmed up as him.
No, looks to be doing bits for the roster, and they'll be happy to have earned the points they did on that match, even if they could have gone a little bit further. Casting our minds to Erangel, we're hoping that they can, of course, improve on their hot drop situation. I think that we're going to see a little bit more of shared Pachinki coming on through in the course of this one. I don't think either team is going to be willing to leave, but we have a couple of times now seen that both Papara Supermassive and Falcons sort of drop either end of Pachinki and get away. Maybe one Elim goes one either way, but I think it's sort of like the healthiest compromise in my mind, right? You just sort of allow that sharing to come on through, and you don't give up your drop spot, which could be seen as weakness, especially at a global stage, right? You can be pushed off your drop spot. That's bad. But also you sort of say, you know what? We'll take a backseat. We're going to take a backseat as well on this show because we've got a short break. We'll see you guys in a few minutes for our first Erangel of the finals. Welcome back. We are here for our first Erangel coming on in. Blank's been caught short with a gob full of goodies, but
We're at
you know
8
what?
seconds, bro. So I was like, I'll just get a quick snack to eat. I haven't had any lunch yet, so yeah.
It is what it is. Got to think fast. Got to chew fast. Got to be fast if you want to take on the best of Europe here at the PMSL. We saw at the end of that match, of course, Fenerbahce taking the top spot, but plenty of other teams earning a whole bunch of points. I'm talking K1. I'm talking BWNRX. These guys have got off to a flying start, unlike the Falcons, who did get off to a sort of a little shuffling start, but they are off the blocks nonetheless. But we'll have to wait and see what more they can do.
That we will. That we will have to see what happens. Sorry, I was just consuming for a second.
Consuming sustenance.
I was. But yeah, I think so far it's been quite interesting in terms of like the skill levels at all of our squads. Like very, very good overall. Seems quite even across the board. And with only some teams getting a little bit further ahead with Fenerbahce, and it really came down to a case of having a good compound. I think this is a very closely matched lobby that we're looking at here. So going to Erangel in probably like 10 minutes time. We're gonna have a little look on that one, and it will be interesting. I'm curious to see if Falcons or Papara Supermassive are gonna go for that hot drop. We talked about it a lot, but similarly, I'm also expecting S2G to do very, very well.
Yeah. I think that we didn't really see too much from S2G. They were a little bit of a victim to the north-south shuffle coming on through on the circles in that last match. They went all the way up to the North Bridge, then they had to sweep all the way through, fight in Painan, having a really tough time of it, right? So I don't think I'm too disappointed in S2G on that last match, but you're right. Moving over to Erangel, they should be starting to rack up those points. They are, of course, one of the teams looking for a top 4 spot. They need to do more than they were able to do in that last game, but they've got plenty more time to do it. They've got 17 more matches to play after all.
Yeah, I think when you look at S2G, though, they're a very consistent team. Yeah, they didn't get the greatest approach on Sandhawk, but I don't think they had the greatest approach on the map either for them. I don't think it was easy for them to go for. They play towards Paris Resorts on the other side of things. Same way that I gave a little bit of credit over towards Falcons in terms of, it's over towards Cows so many times. This was a very southwest shift on the circle, so yeah, it's a little bit more difficult for them to hit up over towards Sami. I think S2G plays way better on Erangel, as does Regnum Kaya. It was interesting that it was sort of towards Sandhawk that Regnum Kaya and S2G were having that battle for the greatest on that map, but now we've moved away from that top side. But I think on Erangel, no matter the circle, no matter where it goes, S2G has had consistent results throughout. If you're asking me right now, I think that what I would say is that for S2G, they're sort of, in my mind, the first place spot takers. Obviously, it's hard to say that when we have Smash ruling because anything can happen. But if we were to go the whole hog here in the tournament, yeah, I would probably say S2G taking first would not be unreasonable.
Yeah, I think you're right. Given their record in the league stage, in the knockout stage, I think absolutely. Coming into this one, though, I feel like more people would have said Regnum Kaya, right, as a first place team. Defending champions of the PMGO, doing so incredibly well over their last run. The big difference from their global runs has been Sara, right? Like he's the factor that has dropped out and gone over to S2G, right? Which I think, in my mind, does make Sara a pretty impressive player. Let's head down to the stage.
Let's go to the stage.
Welcome. Firstly, that's right. Round of applause here as well, which is great. Yeah, thank you. Yes, for Bra. There we go. He's the star of our show. But we're here at the Pmsl EU Finals. How's your experience been so far?
Şimdi öncelikle şöyle söyleyeyim, birazdan hediye çekilişimiz olacak. Sizlere girişte biletler verildi, her bilette numaralar var. Ödüllerinizi de o biletlerle alacaksınız gösteriden sonra hediye alanından. Çekilişi Bra çekecek, sayıları biz söyleyeceğiz sırayla, rastgele bir numara, kazananı bulacağız. Sonrasında da hangi ödülü kazandığını kararlaştıracağız. Ama önce Barış Bra yanımızda, hoş geldin diyoruz abi, hoş geldin. Şunu soralım sana, Adam da sordu. 2025 PMSL EU Spring finalleri senin için ve takımın için nasıl başladı, nasıl gidiyor, ortam nasıl? Her şeyi söyleyebilirsin. Her şey değil ama sorumu yanıtlayabilirsin en azından.
Yani bizim için yeni bir tecrübe tabii ki. Daha önce Türkiye'de yapılan bir offline'a katılamamıştık. Ve takımımdaki oyuncuların hepsi için bu çok yeni bir tecrübe. Zaten biz dediğim gibi buraya çok şampiyon olmak için değil, biraz daha tecrübe kazanmak için geldik. Biz aralıklarda genelde kendini gösteren ekiplerdeniz. Çalışmalarımız devam ediyor. Burada alacağımız her sonuç sonuçta tecrübe olarak olacak ama finalde belki de şans yüzümüze güler. Global bir turnuvada da yarışabiliriz. Sadece deniyoruz şansımızı. Çok iddialı değiliz ama bu süreçten sonra, yani bu turnuvadan sonra çok daha iddialı olacağız. Öyle düşünüyoruz. Genel olarak ortam da çok güzel. Şu an benim yayın setup'ı gitti. Onu nasıl yapacaklar bilmiyorum ama elektrik sıkıntıları falan var. Ama yine de ortam, ambiyans çok güzel. Biz sahnede olmak istedik. Burada olmaktan da mutluyuz. Taraftarla iç içe olmaktan mutluyuz. Her şey keyifli onun dışında ya.
Siz Türkçe anladınız ama ben yine yurt dışında izleyenler için İngilizceye çevireceğim dilim döndüğünce. He is really excited to be here and with his team. This is the first offline tournament of their team, so they're really very excited.
Yeah.
I think that they're here mostly for the experience, and maybe if they get lucky enough, they will be competing in the world stage. He has belief, he has excitement, and I think we are ready to give the gift.
Excellent. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. But we're going to get you to help us with our Wheel of Wonder here, okay? So everyone in the audience has been given a ticket of some sorts. We're going to choose one number each between 1 and 560. Yeah. And if that's your ticket number, you're going to stand up, we'll spin the wheel, and you'll take home a lovely prize courtesy of our wonderful finals here.
Bize gelen bilgiye göre 560 tane bilet dağıtıldı. 560'ın içinden rastgele sayılar söyleyerek bir rakam belirleyeceğiz. Sonra da o rakamın çıktığı kişiyi bulacağız burada. Sonra Barış Bura çarkı çevirecek, ödüller verilecek. Ödüllerimizde atkımız, tişörtümüz, mousepad'imiz, bir sürü şey var. O yüzden ilk sayıyı ben söylüyorum. 3 diyorum. Bileti 3 ile başlayanlar şimdiden biletine baksın. The first number that I pick is 3. And we're ready for the second number. İkinci numara from Adam. The second number from Adam.
4.
3, 4. 3, 4. Ve son number, the last number is coming from Barış Bura.
1.
1. 341. 341. Burada mı 341?
Does anybody have 341? Anyone?
341.
Stand up, call it out if so. Anyone?
Var mı?
3, 2, 1. We have to go again. I didn't see it. Okay, next number. Let's start with 2.
2,
1.
1. And I say 1.
211.
211. 211 de burada mı? 211.
Anyone? 211. The ticket 211.
Sonra
Anyone?
bir tane daha seçeceğiz. Eğer o da burada yoksa ben gözümle seçtiğim birine ödülleri takdim edeceğim. Ama bir numara daha seçeceğiz.
Really?
Önce. No, 211 is not here.
Okay, okay, fine. Let's do one more, and then we'll find someone.
One more. 4. 1 again.
0.
40.
9.
409.
Anyone?
Var mı?
All right. That means if we haven't got someone, you pick maybe a younger person, pick someone who you want to give a prize to.
Okay.
Who'd like a prize? Younger
Numarayı
people.
bulamadık. Barış Bura şimdi rastgele birini seçecek. Sen seçmez misin? Tamam, o zaman ben seçiyorum.
You're choosing here.
Yukarıda beyaz tişörtlü gözlüklü bir arkadaşımız var.
Okay, can we get a light at the back there for the person standing up?
Forman hangi takımın forması o, seçemiyorum buradan.
Okay.
S2G'den seçtik, tamam.
Okay. So we have a person who's going to win a prize, and they'll collect it later. But, will you spin can you spin the wheel for us and see what the prize is? Are you
Şimdi
ready?
çarkı çeviriyoruz.
Spin that wheel. Here we go. What could it be?
Tamam. No, they found 409.
Oh, they did. 409.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're giving away 2 gifts then.
Okay, 2 gifts. Yes,
Okay,
you do.
tamam, 2 tane hediye vereceğiz. Bir 409'a, bir de seçtiğimiz arkadaşımıza.
And it is
Tatlıcı seti.
What is this?
Desserter set.
A dessert?
Yeah.
Like a pudding?
Yeah. Like baklava. Not
Okay,
pudding,
okay,
baklava.
dessert. Fine, that's a
I think it's
price.
something like that.
Okay, great.
They should know better.
That's the price. There you go. You can
Tamam,
collect that
ilk
later on.
ödülümüz gitti.
That's
Şimdi
all yours.
200 numaralı bilet. The number 200 got the first prize. The girl S2G fan.
Okay.
200 numaralı biletteki hediyeyi verdik. Şimdi öbür arkadaşımız nerede? 409. O da burada. 409 orada. 409 is there.
So we do one more spin.
Again, one more spinning.
One more spin. Bra, one more time. Let's go, let's go. Big spin here. And the prize. I know what pass is. Nothing else. You have to tell me.
Nothing else.
Okay. It is
Atkı tişört, pass,
Not pass.
mousepad.
a mouse
Mousepad!
pad. Let's go.
You got a mousepad! You
Let's
got a
go.
mousepad! Everybody!
Let's go.
Tamam.
You can collect your prizes later on at the gift collection area. And we go back to the desk as well, Billy.
Evet. Gün bittikten sonra ödül teslim alanından hemen girişten alabilirsin biletini verip. Şimdi tekrar analiz masasındayız. Tankut ve Scarlett.
Thank you, Bra. Thank you, Bra, everyone.
Bra içinde alkışlar.
Look at that. Thrilling scenes down on the stage, dishing out the prizes. A little bit of pudding there. I'm with Adam. I have no idea what that was coming on into it. I did Google it, though. Apparently, it's just like some sweet treats, which is nice. I could do with that.
Yeah, I like a sweet treat. I'll take a Turkish delight. I do enjoy them now and again. But yeah, it's overall that was curious, right? No crowd was there. 211 wasn't there. What was the other
409.
one? Or a 429 wasn't there.
3 something. I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I was worried then when he started saying everyone was getting a mouse pad. I was like, I don't think they've got enough mouse pads for that.
That's not right. No, not everyone.
No.
Just the one mouse pad, actually.
It's just the one mouse pad, to be honest with you. But yeah, let's.
I didn't even know mice needed pads, but there you go.
Well, they do. Well, mice have paw pads. Mouse pads.
Ah, that's true. Yeah, mouse pads. It's not for a
Yeah.
computer mouse. It's actually just a pad.
Don't say it.
No,
Don't
that's
say
not
it.
good, is it?
Don't say it. Yeah, it's actually a whole mouse, but you know,
It's
the
actually
mouse pads are
pad
included.
is slang for house, so it's actually just a mouse house.
Mouse house. Yeah, we're handing out mice.
You come to a PUBG Mobile tournament, you get a mouse for free. That's how we treat you. There you
It
go.
is, it's good.
Absolutely.
You know what I was quite happy about is that we didn't land on any passes, which I imagine is just you don't get anything.
Does it mean pass? Pass.
I think
in
so. It's like
Turkish
nothing.
translation.
Use it.
Oh.
Use your translator.
Rust.
No, that can't be true.
That's what it means. Oh, there was an
No.
accent on it, wasn't there?
I don't believe you. Pass.
No,
It actually is
telling you.
rust.
I'm telling you, it translates as rust. I think there was an
no.
accent on it though.
No. Additionally, pass can also refer to pass in a sports context. Actually, no. Just means pass the ball.
I don't
Well,
know.
hopefully, we're not giving out rust to anyone. That would be very mean. Let's be
Yeah, no,
honest.
we find the closest bit of metal that they own, rusted.
Yeah. Your phone, rusted.
Rusted now. Is it not a GT30 Pro? Or you're rusted. You're rusty.
You've been rusted upon. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, I mean, Papa Massive, super happy to be here. Good time. First LAN event. Big time.
Big time. Big time prize time. That's right. I wonder what the other
Indeed.
things were on that wheel. I've no idea. Should really have a look. Should really
You
have
know
a
what,
look. Let's get a list of that.
I was disappointed that Adam didn't know them all. I think he should have known them all. Yeah, he should have learned all Turkish before he came here.
Should have learned fully Turkish. He should have been presenting
He
in
should have
both
been
languages.
fluent.
Adam, come on. Goodness me.
Crazy stuff.
How do you say it? I can't remember. Okay,
But yeah.
right. Well, let's stop doing our Turkish translations. Turkish lessons over. It's time for match number 2 here of the grand finals as we head in for our first time onto Erangel.
Bish, bash, bosh, and here we are. Straight into it. Second match of the day. Whew, we are a third of the way through. Oh, not quite. We still have to watch this entire game first. We are 1/6 and a bit of the way through. But we are starting down towards Sosnovka, heading over towards Stalba. Start things off here. Nice little entry plane path here for S2G over towards Primorsk. Ida going to head over towards Sosnovka alongside with TTQ as well.
Yeah, sending on out probably towards Novo, maybe stopping short in the military base, depending on where Ida end on up. All eyes on Pachinki right now, and I'm seeing 2 teams blank. Oh dear.
Yeah, it looks like... honestly, though, give it one last good go. Give it one last good go. And
having a right
there
crack
we
at
go.
it. And, okay,
Nice.
Novalo winning out the first
start.
and cleanly as well. That's the important thing, right? Clean knock and flush.
Clean. Very clean.
Clean.
I love a clean flush. Personally, me.
Yes, so do I, actually. I think
Yeah.
if you liked anything else, you'd be a bit weird.
You would be. Let's see if they can go for the double flush on this one. For the Falcons.
That's a 2-flusher, mate.
That's a 2-flusher, that one. That's what we want to see from the Falcons, at least. I want them to see them finish their business here in Pachinki. I don't want to see one. I want to see a number 2 on the cards.
They don't.
For
They
the Falcons.
definitely don't want to be wiping as well. Like if you go all out,
Yeah.
it's a really nasty finish.
No wipes. No wipes from this team. You're going to have to get out there
Yeah.
like a ghost. if
Yeah,
they,
you need a little bit of
keep
follow
this
through.
up. Oh,
Oh no.
oh dear. Very funny.
Oh dear.
All right, Narvalo in the building. Drop nade off towards this building. Some more eliminations coming through. Pro Supermassive moving off. This is where Falcons cannot lose pacing. They've got Papara Supermassive on the run. The question is, though, John, for me,
What's Quick
how
doing?
much? No, well, not that. How much does Papara Supermassive being at land affect this hot drop for them? As we know, the Falcons have far more experience on a high pressure stage like this.
They certainly do. Ooh, lost catching a little clip on the sideline transition there, but not going to find the knock. Potential for a couple of meds to be on board as well at this stage for both teams. The Falcons, with the high ground on the back line, are there, but off in the distance, is there a third-party potential coming on it?
We'll have to wait and see. Now, there's been a couple of times teams have sent themselves over. Kumkaya currently shooting on past. Bra's on our screen right now. Towards mansion side of things.
That's what I heard.
Fenerbahce's on our screen right now. Just keeping it chilled out. Simple Domek has had a pretty successful run overall throughout this tournament. Very, very clutch. 3-man shotgun spray down over towards Papua Supermassive earlier. It was lovely to see.
Looks like the Falcons want to get froggy fresh with it. And Narvalo finds another, clips the wings of Kamikaze. That is going to be probably a flush being picked up there. Koa is able to seal the deal. The point still goes to Narvalo for getting the knock. Ralph pops out over onto the windowsill, and Narvalo wants more. Ralph straight across, and Papara Supermassive hit with a doozy. And that is what the Falcons wanted to see. This is what we wanted to see as well, Blank. A complete and clean victory for the Falcons. They did not wipe.
No wipes required here for the Falcons, but down the drain. Do Papara Supermassive go. Foot on our screens at the moment over towards the fielded area. Nice position to be in, but a little bit difficult to get out from.
Marseille on the road, crossing the fields, hits a divot. Took a fair chunk of his health out there too, but I'm sure he'll be fine.
BWNRX have had a fairly decent run last game. Pretty wild stuff. Oxy hunting from the building.
Looking for
Kara
wascally weapons.
chilling at the top of the mountain.
Everybody on the move now, Blank. We're into the 6th minute of the match, so teams are starting to look for their position into the circle. It's fairly open, though. Obviously, this first circle encompasses quite a lot of land, and most of that circle is playable terrain as well. Teams will be starting to move in around those Gatka fields, around the hills to the west side of Pachinki, to try and take up positions. Maybe teams flexing out as far north as Everest, but that's a little bit lower of a priority position as it stands, unless we get that second circle shift out that way. S2G close to BWNRX and looking maybe for a little bit of a scrap.
Or maybe not. Maybe we're just gonna move away. And beat the NRX as well as S2G. Likely don't want to come into contact with one another at this point in time. You know, we're quite close. We're 1 minute away from stage 2. Not an ideal time to be fighting, especially in this area. A bit hairy. Fireflux heading on out. Bro, I need to do a lot better, in my opinion. I don't think that's right, is it?
What is?
Everyone seems to have 4th place in eliminations. Damage 9th place, assist 3rd.
Also, no damage. There's something going wrong. I feel like Akali being in the final circle and the team getting 80 limbs in the last match.
This just from this match? Yeah, I'm sure someone else has done more damage.
Maybe the team is 4th in eliminations and the team is 9th in damage.
Nah, surely it would just be for the one player.
Because they've just gone to 10th, look. All of BWNRX. Oh, wait, no. Okay. Yeah, I've no idea. Maybe it's locked onto one player.
It's cryptic.
Yes. We shall... What do they mean?
Oh,
the
it's
numbers.
11 now.
Oh.
It's getting higher, but assists are lower.
Nobody knows what these numbers mean. Goodness me, it's a mystery. We are going to have to wait to find out. Oh, an elim just happened. Barce did just lose a player. Over to, I think it was Kara over on the south side of Pachinki.
We learned how to Barce recently.
Yes.
So sorry to everyone. Please, Barce. We are simple Englishmen.
That is true.
We do struggle sometimes. You have to forgive us.
It's our burden to bear.
It is our burden to bear.
I'm so sorry.
You could make fun of us for it, but just give us a little time.
We'll get to it eventually. After a cup of tea.
Yeah, obviously.
Or a cup of toy.
I tried a 2 teabagger the other day.
Whoa. Why?
Experimenting.
I reckon what happened is you pulled the tea bags out of the box and they are attached to each other and you were like, I can't be bothered to tear this one off. I'm putting both in.
No, I was just experimenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. What happened? What was the result?
Really, it was quite strong.
What was your hypothesis going into the experiment?
How does 2 tea bags change the taste of tea?
No, that's the postulate. What's the thesis? Or what's the hypothesis?
These 2
what did
tea
you
bags
expect
will
to
make
happen?
the tea stronger.
Oh, and then it did. That's crazy.
Conclusion. I was correct.
Confirm the hypothesis. That's what we're looking for. Falcons confirming their hypothesis that they can win in Pachinki. Unfortunately, they have now lost a player, Narvalo, who was their star of the show for that early scrap, early engagement with Papara Supermassive, has gone down. But playing as 3 in Pachinki with the circle as it is should be fairly chill. And they've already got 5 points, Blank.
Yeah, it's great. The Falcons just loving life. They did lose one player, though, which is somewhat unfortunate, but they're staying towards that top side. They are definitely staying towards that top side. That's all they need to do. Like you were saying, the end of the previous game, John, 6 points every game. That's going to see you quite healthy. Probably not towards the top of the tables, but it will see you healthy, and then you just need to have your standout runs.
I mean, every time you score 16 points... Oh, wait, is it 8? Yeah, 18 points. That's like a point average extra onto your tournament. So if you can keep churning away, sometimes you get a clean 15-pointer, a clean 20-pointer.
Clean
That's what
what?
you're looking for. That's absolutely. That's what everyone should hope for.
Aspires to. Yeah.
K1 with the
That's
drive-by
embarrassing.
shutdown. Gonna miss over the heads. They're just pretending to fight. They didn't really want to hit.
He really was just shooting over the window as well. Reaper does go down, and Ida will have to move away. Not sure what Darkin was attempting. Sarah even finds Aaron. Ooh, it's all gone wrong here. Out in chopsticks.
Feels like it's been a while since we've been to the Gatka Chopsticks. Happy to see them.
Yep. Have we seen the map feed yet?
I don't know about this circle, but we've just seen the next one start to shrink. I'm not sure. Maybe.
I think we have. Maybe we were too busy talking about something else. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that does sound like us. Like teabags.
That does sound like us. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Apologies. Again. You can make fun of us, but you have to bear with us.
You're stuck. You're stuck in here. IDA, pretty stuck in their position. A lot of teams taking to the fields now, Blank. And in general, it will form this sort of isolationary ring around you. You can stay safe, but getting out becomes a lot harder, especially as more and more teams start to pack the area and move on in. Makes it all the harder to get on out, which does increase the amount that the circle will impact these next few stages. So in a minute, expect to see the number of teams drop fairly dramatically.
It will get tough. It will get tough out in those fields. Teams that have some kind of compound to play around with please themselves going forward. BWNRX is still playing on the outer edge as Bra attempts to make their way. And this is a cruel positioning from BWNRX as well. A lot of teams will take that spot down the hill there in the compound as a nice little stop-off point. But for BWNRX, now they have a very easy way to gatekeep them. Kara up against TTQ off in the distance. A lot happening there. And we do jump on board. I believe the fight is all but over.
Oh, we got another one. It's Bra versus BWNRX, and it looks like it's all just kicking off. BWNRX losing Zed Wolf to Swash on the pump action. Nice little shutdown there, but it is traded off, and timely as well. Another set over towards Rolexes. Are they going to be able to find the cavalry to roll on in? You can see only one player still has been down from BWNRX, and he's already folded in to the rest of the team, but Frozen's the second to fall. They're holding it down. Kakali, last to stand for them last time, last to stand for them this time as well, as now 3 players from BWNRX have fallen, and they will all go down the drain as Swash is the only casualty. Rolex, oh no, he did get flushed away. But what a hole over the top from Quantum and Gabri.
That was a gatekeep set up by BWNRX as well. So I wouldn't say embarrassing, but not the way you wanted that to pan out at all, right? Over for BWNRX. Losing all their players on what should have been an easy gatekeep. Regnum Kaya come to play neighbors with S2G, and S2G are not happy about it. Will be sat outside the doorways. We're getting phasing bullets here straight through the rock itself. Over towards Regnum Kaya.
Straight down the chopsticks. S2G hunkering down in the bunker. at the far end. They'll be okay for the time being. A lot of teams making their way on out. The next stage is starting to close, Blank. And you're right, I haven't seen where it is. I don't know where the circle is, but it looks like all these teams do, and they are packing in around the Gatka fields.
So I wasn't wrong.
Well, you might have been last time, but
Definitely not this time.
Not this time, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's a hidden map feed. Crouching Havlik.
Keep your secrets, then.
So we'll wait and see where all these players are holding up. But for the time being, like we said, it's a secret.
It's a Gandalf, sir.
I tell you, we don't have a map feed currently. Otherwise, I would try and let you know where people are playing. But we will do our best in terms of general location.
Oh,
my
down.
time spent in Erangel. Yeah, they got sideswiped by S2G as well. It's pretty wild.
Ooh.
Falcons
SG only get
also.
2 points for it, though. And Falcons, yeah, struggling to
Ooh,
lead Pachinki.
one player. Yeah, just the one player. I mean, this is not a horrible run out from Pachinki, in my opinion, John. I think that probably quite frustrating for the Falcons.
You can imagine it is. I mean, finally, right, you win Pachinki. You win it well as well. And it's like, can't leave. Sorry. We're done now. We completed the game. Winning Pachinki is all there is, right? That's it. There is no
That's
more.
all
of this
there was
match.
to it. Kelsey off in the distance with Elvis trying to take some shots. S2G have been quite comfortable down towards this little U-bend on the chopsticks. Seen those people that they like wrap napkins around the chopsticks to make it easier to use?
What? No?
Oh,
What, like around the food end or around the holding end?
around the holding, not around the food end. What the?
Well, I don't know. You just throw.
Yeah, so
napkins
they
at me.
they wrap them. So they put them flat, and then they wrap the napkin round, and then they twist it up, and then the napkin now has like a foldy bit at the end. It becomes more like a pair of tongs at that point.
Oh, yeah. Like you can buy them, like sort of fake chopsticks, right? That are like attached.
In which case, use a fork, in my opinion.
Yeah, or just use your fingers, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not above it. It looks
There's
like
no-
Fireflux are trying to get in on the S2G action. Another vehicle as well rotating in, but Fireflux having a real tough time of it. There are teams on the far end of this as well. Going to make their lives a living hell not too shortly. Nades sent in towards S2G, but Regnum Kaya from the backlines. S2G putting down the control. It's going to make Fireflux's approach very, very dangerous. I'm surprised they're still alive. Ooh, sliver of HP. And there they go. Fireflux, yeah. Too bold. Not going to work.
Not going to work at all. I mean, for Fireflux, standing in there, in my opinion, quite the mistake. I think it was too little too late there. There isn't very many areas you can play either. I mean, potentially trying to pick up ice cream could be a good idea. The end of that compound. I think S2G is currently doing quite well where they're playing. But again, there is, I think it's Fenerbahce in that area. It's very similar colors on the screen. So we'll have to wait and see when we get on side with them.
Fenerbahce's dead.
Then that's likely foot. I was to make a wild guess.
5 out of 10 times, probably right. Foot take tags over towards IDA. You can see them here. We're on board with Foot on this northeast side, sorry. Taking shots. They've got a nice oversight over the surrounding fields, but right on the edge of this circle. They want to add to their Elim count, and without up 4, they only have 3 players alive. There are no Elims at the moment, and it will be a difficult run out for them. Black Esports regrouping towards the middle.
Oh, eliminated! Did you see that?
I didn't.
Like on the tower. First time I've seen it.
Yeah, it's been happening the whole time. Today.
I've not noticed it.
Okay.
I've been a little bit more focused on the gameplay.
It's about to happen to IDA, I reckon.
Show me that cool sign you do.
Oh, no, he got the heal off.
Oh,
Never
he's
mind,
healed
yeah.
back. Wow, teasing us. Bra currently on the edge of this compound. Now, I like this position personally. Black Esports will need to hold them out though. Bra can play here for quite some time. Lord Cedric, as we know in the past, has always been this off-angler for Black. He's very, very good at keeping his head on his shoulders as well. And I think that is what keeps Black Esports alive more than not often than not, is because Lord Cedric is quite cautious.
There is.
Member.
Oh,
I saw it. Oh, I saw it. So I'll keep my eye on it.
Okay.
I'm on one eye.
There we go. One eye open. Bra, maybe the next to feel the burn of the eliminated graphic. As the nade goes on in, S2G have had sideswipe angles onto this approach as well. Bra have not had a good time of it. Black Esports going to try and pick up the points, and they will be able to pinch one there. Gabri, the last to stand, I believe, for Bra. Or do they have one more backstop? They may do. Further off. Swash, Swash is close. He's down. It is just Gabri left. Zeptimus takes a nade, though. I know it's going to slow Black Esports.
Well, we've lost the tower now as well. We're slowly losing more and more of the UI as we go on.
It's back. Well, hey!
Wow.
You'll love to see it.
Back again.
Just a little
incredible. Just a little prank. It's playing hide and seek with us. We will find it. Foot, Docker Machine. Off in the distance, getting taken some pot shots up by Tulica. It's Boars. I think Boars are a very interesting team. I don't think they're the best team. What is with people and trying to get involved in this like horrible clash between Regnum Kaya and as well as S2G? Like teams just keep giving their lives like offerings up to S2G, who are currently, by the way, on 11 elims. 8 elims, sorry. Yeah.
8 elims. They got
wild.
some points in the last match. It is crazy, isn't it? Like they've been able to get these reses. Silas from Regnum Kaya has actually moved all the way down here. He's like, well, if you're gonna keep jumping in, I'm just gonna farm you for points, right? Regnum Kaya, the fact that they've only got 2 of the elims there is kind of crazy, right? Like they have had complete blindside shots down to this angle as Bra get eliminated. Gabri finally falling. But they've only been able to pick 2 of those points up. For S2G, this is great news.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think for S2G, they're just farming. They're farming points inside of chopsticks. They're using their tongs and gripping those points firmly. And the funny thing is, they're also getting like massive supply drops every time a team does that.
That is true. We've got like 3 teams worth of gear right now.
Again, I think that if you're one of these squads, much rather try my chances on the edge. I still don't quite understand, like, there's probably a team at the end of chopsticks and the bottom of chopsticks. Do you know what's going to be a really fun and cool idea for us guys? We should just crash in the middle of those teams and then give them a crossfire, but we'll win.
Well, S2G now flexing out to the west chopstick. They've given over the east almost entirely to Regnum Kaya.
Which is fair. Again, I think that's one of the things where it's like you make a handshake. Make a handshake with a team. I think that's fine. I wouldn't count as collusion. It's good gameplay, right? Both those teams were taking shots at each other the entire time. But at this point, Regnum Kaya and S2G, like, right, you have that chopstick, I'll have this chopstick, and we'll meet later on a grander stage.
Well, at the moment, S2G, they've got 10 elims blank. These guys are farming the lobby. They are setting themselves up. We said we wanted to see it from them, right? This is a team that everyone is expecting to be in contention for that top spot. Their first match, a little bit curtailed by the circle, but they do not want to let that one go quietly. And they are putting so much pressure onto the rest of the lobby. They've held this area for long. Now they need to move up, march their way down this chopstick. I'm wondering if Regnum Kaya are going to try and get a little bit fresh, but no, it looks like they're going to play safe, move back up to the top with that progression. The S2G being necessary towards Barsai.
Regnum Kaya actually gets the way better end of the chopstick because they're on the eastern side. There aren't any teams there. Like you said, S2G still has to contend with Barsai. Or Black Esports could have eyes on. S2G will be very careful with how they approach this. 200 bullets in the mag as well. Elvis. Well, a lot of ammo to work through.
Ooh, just tanking this damage. I think the thing for S2G that will be lacking is med supplies, helmets, armor. That side of things is going to start to get a little bit ropey. They've taken a couple of fights now, and with the amount of damage that Barsai are starting to pour into them, I think their approach is going to be made harder. But Barsai have more than one fish to fry. They've got multiple teams stood around them who can take shots. You can see Black Esports there on the northern edge. They're going to be putting pressure on. And S2G are just this ever-lurking danger. I mean, I said the helmet might be raggedy. No, he's got full level 3. That's pretty cheeky. As K1 do go down, but trying to crawl out. Commando on the open field.
Yeah, Barsai is trying to pull a bit of a magic trick through the smoke there. Get those bullets to curve a little over towards S2G. It's not quite working just yet. But not moving out on foot, in fact, trying to get in a vehicle. But
on the northern side, will Regnum Kaya try and flex out, flush them out? Only time will tell as 4 teams remain.
S2G with 4, looking to finish off Barsai. Elvis takes a hell of a lot of damage. Ball's still going. Again, for Boars, I talked about being an interesting team earlier, and it's specifically because they do just weather the storm a lot of times. Like berserkers off in the distance, giving their life for points. Icy. Whew, very scary there. Still, 5 first aid kits. Like I said, they got themselves a lot of loot earlier. It seems like they put a massive emphasis on the fact that they wanted as many medical supplies as possible. They knew that they would be going through the ring of this game. I think that's smart.
Boars still fighting out. They managed to get all 4 of their players back up into their feet. They're up to 9 elims now. Make that 10. Looking for more as well. Potentially. Regnum Kaya do go down. That leaves that east chopstick angle actually isolated. This is good news for S2G. They can start to flex out. Boars will have an angle. And look at Sarah. He's moved all the way out. Over and onto the open ground. Hamzy lights up Boars on the back line. And a nade over towards Nihat. S2G look at a fight through this one all the way through.
That is the big pick that they were looking for. The one over towards Nihat will allow them to move in over towards Elvis. They have a good approximation of where he's playing. There's no response from him. He has the S12K. Kelsey takes a bunch of damage. Will hit the deck. Will he be able to finish the flush off here? But S2G is not letting up on the approach, and Elvis will go down.
This is where Sarah is so important. You can see he's drawing fire, will go down, but that allows the board, that stops the boards rather from moving up and third-partying that engagement. The res can come through in the bunker. And Sarah will be going down here, but in a 4 versus 3, it's not out, not done just yet. As there comes that first res. Healing necessary now as the zone crunches everyone to the middle. What can they do?
Sarah still has a critical role to play. He is on the level ground. Therefore, he has sight lines over towards the balls. He just needs to tell the rest of the team when they're pushing, when they're going in. Right now, gear still seems fairly healthy for the boys on S2G.
Nice.
That's a big pickup on the side over towards Havlik. That was the flex angle. Not likely the balls are getting that back up again, especially with the circle starting to push on in. Nade over the top to the back line. No knock or damage there, so they know they're further along the way. Hamzy G, some incredibly aggressive gameplay. Cause takes a bunch of damage. Another steps up, and it seems to be all over for the boards. One final player, and Icy puts him down, and S2G will come away with the second chicken dinner of the day with a huge amount of points.
That was nuts on that spray down from Hamzy G. He really opened things up. And again, it was Sarah who was pivotal on that information delivering back towards the rest of the team, allowing them to move freely, stopping the boards from overwhelming them at the end of that chopstick position. A really well-held spot and a massive payday on the points for S2G. They're going to be really happy. They've got that home crowd support as well in Istanbul. This is a team name that will ring cheers through the crowds. Look at the shirts. Look at the flags. Sarah pumping the fist. Rightly so.
Yeah, it's a great game. Honestly, one of the toughest games we've seen so far in our 2 games of play. But it was very, very difficult. Even throughout the entirety of the tournament, right? It's a hugely tough play to make where you're up against Regnum Kai that entire time on the other side of the chopsticks. You got to deal with bar side. There's teams constantly throwing themselves at you like seagulls after chips. It was madness, absolute madness in the trenches there for S2G. They make it out alive. And again, it's good loot prioritization. They didn't have a huge amount of nades, didn't have a huge amount of utility because they didn't need it. You don't really need a huge amount of smokes at that point of the game to make that play happen. What you need is first aid kits, which they all had like 3 or 5. They just had to weather the nades. They need some of the boosters as well. But yeah, that was really it. And I think that's what makes S2G a world-class team, is understanding what's necessary for a game like that.
Yeah, I think that it was really well read onto that. Are you
very well read?
Very well read. Yeah, very well read onto that position as they managed to mog their way through that entire game.
Stop mogging me, Sarah. Come on, man.
He's like, I ain't saying nothing. He was out on the field, and they were like, "What's going on?" And he was just like,
"Yeah, he was. He was." I mean, he had good sight lines over towards him as well. You know, it was clean, very, very clean. It was sharp, like a jawline, and I think that honestly, overall, a very strong game from S2G. I liked what Regnum Kai were able to do as well. Personally, I thought that they had a good game off the back of it. And this mic arm stopped like floating down.
I've no idea, mate. That's a you problem.
It is. Help me. Help me,
sorry.
John.
Yeah, no, I'll get it back up for you. Don't worry. It'll be a couple of hours. But
yeah, no.
I think for Regnum Kai, you're right. They played that counterpoint to S2G for a long, long time, right? Unfortunately, they just really didn't profit off it as much, right? They were starved of the Elim points that S2G were able to snaffle down. And as well as they played it in a comparative style, they didn't get the reward in the same way.
I think taking that U-bend was the big changer right there for the guys on S2G, because every time Regnum Kai tried to pick up on those points where people were just throwing themselves in like fish, I think that they were also taking shots from S2G, right? Every single time. They do. They just throw themselves in. You know, this is the way it be. It's the way it be. I think that for S2G, it was a case where they had that cover to work off the back of, and Regnum Kai didn't. Right? They had the 2 angles to play around with, so you just have a case where one player can take shots at the players floating in towards the trenches, whereas one player on the other hand can take shots back over towards Regnum Kai. I think overall it was a very well laid out plan, and I genuinely do think the boys played it out phenomenally well.
Yeah, I think that there were some very solid plays. Obviously, a field finish does always make things a little bit harder for a lot of teams. Let's take a look at the final moments here with S2G. I mean, it was really up to this massive pickup of the Havlik that's just about to occur. You can see as soon as that spray down goes through, Hamzy is up and in. The nades to the back line, Icy suppressing. Hamzy does go down, but there's nothing actually we can do here. Against 2, I mean, there was still potential, but they made it work. It was really, really well handled, especially considering they had to fight out of a ditch, 3 versus 4. They absolutely nailed it, and rightly so. The MVP goes to Hamzy G with 7 elims, not quite 1,000 damage, but he certainly bruised a few egos along the way.
Slay to stay as well. All right, I like that tagline coming through from S2G. Love it. Again, it's nice to see Icy in his fancy new outfit as well. We've seen Icy along in plenty of other teams throughout the years. And again, he's always been a bit of a force over in the Europe region. I'm genuinely very pleased to see him find success here on S2G as well. Again, S2G has for the longest time felt like, I think we even called it the Kelsey Hamzy G show, right? That rings a bell to me. And it always has been. They were very much lacking on the final 2 members. This is post S2G breakup, by the way. You know, as the boy band left, they all went separate ways, other than Hamzy G and Kelsey. But yeah, they've been struggling to find that 3rd and 4th member who works well. I think Sarah's fantastic on the team. I think Icy's fantastic on the team. The difficulty for S2G again comes in the fact that Sarah's on a loan. He's on a loan from Rejects. So either they pay out his contract, could do.
Might do. I mean, I would wonder who would fit into this roster, right? If you take Sarah out, who slots in there? I mean, it's a difficult question to answer. I don't know if I could come up with anyone off the top of my head. But Sarah has been a really big impact player. We've seen Icy grow in this scene as well over the course of it. As a big impact player, I think he's played on a lot of different teams in Europe and finally, seemingly finding a home. We saw the stats there as well for the chicken dinner. I think they were up to 15 elims on the match flank, which is a pretty massive points total to be able to earn. And as we head on into our highlights, our replays coming on through, we'll see S2G repeatedly holding in the U-bend.
Yeah, honestly, they crushed it, right? They absolutely crushed it this game. There's no doubt about it. I mean, K1 didn't do too badly in terms of eliminations, if I remember correctly. Falcons went down early again. I think we got to keep Falcons' name out of our mouths. I think we're not helping them.
You think we're max manning them?
I think we're max manning them. So I think we got to stop. We absolutely have to stop. So we'll wait and see what happens with them in the future. Again, I think Falcons have come back from worse in the past. Just have to hope that happens here for any Falcons fans in the chat.
Absolutely. We'll take the blame on that one. Not the players who are actually playing the game and have the responsibility to play well. That's not nuts.
I just mean like it's less important to talk about them anymore.
No, I know.
They're just not having the impact.
Yeah, I mean they did win Pachinki. They did do that. Let's take a look at the points. It wasn't, oh my goodness, it was 17 elims coming through for S2G. That is nuts. So 27 points earned in match number 2 for them. And the Boars as well, getting 10 elims, 16 points total. That's almost as much as the chicken dinner from the first match.
Yeah, the Boar Berserkers, as it would seem, like giving their own life force for that additional damage out inside the lobby. Certainly feels that way. For the Boars, I think that they've always been like quite a messy team, but it works. I don't know how better to describe it other than it's just like it's very much just this berserker rage energy from that squad. And again, I think they are the hungriest team in the lobby. I think S2G wants it, absolutely, but they also have the chops to make it happen. Boars is quite literally wading through barbed wire to make this work because, yes, they don't have that same stylish capability maybe S2G or Regnum Kaya has, but they've got the determination and some skilled players to make it count. So, yeah, very cool. Here's our overall rankings towards our top 8 with S2G currently in first with those 30 points total found. And it would be those 4 teams going through if we ended it right here. However, it's only second match. We've still got a lot more to go. So stick around. Plenty more to play.
Still 30 points puts them at a 15-point average on these first 2 matches, which is pretty crazy. Generally, around the top spots, you're looking at trying to push for a 10-point average. To put that in context, of course, it is early, and S2G have had just this massive game, which on the averages will start to shrink in impact, but the fact that they've already been able to put up a 10-point average for next game means that whatever they get in this next match is just a bonus over that. And they will be happy to add to their tallies as we head to the second side, which is a little bit, as Maxman put it, dusty. The other day, I was watching their viewer parties. He was saying the second page, dusty. And that is exactly what we're seeing from a lot of these teams down here, having a bad time.
Dusty. Damn, okay. Yeah, second page to me always just seems a little bit sad. With nameplates being at Regnum Kai with 10 points, almost breaching over towards that first page, but did not get a lot of hefty results off that last game. I was very disappointed to see it. But it's Ida I think I'm the most sad about. I love that team. I love the players on that team. I think that they have a huge amount of growth still available in them. I would be pleased to see them end up towards the middle of the pack. I think it's safe to say I'm a bit Ida fan, but yeah, there you go.
All right, fair enough. I think Thunder Talk as well is a bit of a surprise entry down this low on the tables. Not to say that they They don't deserve to be here based on their last two games. But I think that, especially with 16 more matches, I'm expecting something to come through from them at some point. And the longer that goes on, the worse it's going to be. But you spoke about it at the start of the day, right? Temperamental. This is a team that really does need to get themselves going, or they can fall flat on their face. Their second place in the knockout stages was basically entirely due to just one day, right? Their second day, they got 65 points. It was the most points we've seen any team get in a single day, and they did it only on 4 matches, right? Not even when teams were doing 6-match days back in the league stages. Did anyone get there? I think the closest was S2G with 59 on their first day of league stage, and that was on 6 matches. So Thunder Talk do have a lot of gas in the tank. The question is, does it blow up on impact?
Well, Thunder Talks, I think for a lot of teams here, they're at a live stage. They're a live setting. It's not always easy, in my opinion, to perform that well at a live setting like this when you're coming from just playing what we would call the bedroom PUBG Mobile, and you're at events, but technically you're still at home. But yeah, so it's an interesting one. Anyway, we're gonna head over to the stage.
Thank you very much, chaps. Welcome back to our main stage. We are delighted to be joined by Fireshine and Urkia here from the Bushido Wildcats Next Ria women's team in the house. It's great to have you here. Urkia, let me ask you first and foremost. You're competing in PMEWL as BWNRX. What are your expectations for the team this season?
Evet değerli izleyenler, şimdi yanımda Öykü ve Fireshine var. Kendileri Bushido Wildcats Next Ria kadın takımında mücadele ediyorlar ve ilk sorumuz şimdi size çok kritik bir soru. Cevabını ben önceden aldım ama yine de burada herkesin önünde, yayında izleyenler için de bir kez daha vermenizi istiyoruz. Bushido Wildcats Next Ria olarak PMEWL'de sahne alacaksınız. Bu sezon takım olarak beklentiniz nedir Öykü?
Birazcık Galatasaray ön plandaydı. Bu yıl Galatasaray'dan alıp Wildcats'i zirveye koymak istiyoruz.
So she says that for many years Galatasaray was on the top, but this season it's going to change and we will be victorious.
I love that winning talk there. That's really good. I love that. I'll ask you, Fireshine, what does it mean to you to compete on a stage made exclusively for women?
Sıradaki soru Fireshine'a. Kadınlara özel bir sahnede mücadele etmek sizin için ne ifade ediyor?
Kadınlar Ligi'ne açıklayayım.
Mike right there. Perfect.
Tamam. Kadınlar Ligi'ne verilen önem bizim için zaten çok önemli. Bizim de tek amacımız bu şu an burada bulunduğumuz gibi bu kupayı Kadınlar Ligi'ne getirmek. Umarım bunu yapabiliriz.
The importance that given to the women's teams are really big. And our goal and dream is to win this cup as a women's team one day.
It's going to happen. I can feel it. It's going to happen. I'll ask you, Urkia, your roster has been getting a lot of attention this season. What do you think sets you apart from your opponents out there?
Bu sezon kadronuz çok konuşuluyor ve hani sorumuz da sizi rakiplerinizden ayıran ve en azından farklı kılan şey nedir? Yani en büyük özelliklerden biri.
Çok çalıştık. Özellikle hatalarımızın üzerinde durmaya gayret gösterdik. Hazır olduğumuzu düşünüyoruz finale. Bakalım. İnşallah gelecek şampiyonluk.
Yeah, they worked really hard, she says that. About their mistakes, the things that they do wrongly. So they are working on it. The biggest difference is they're hardworking.
Hey, I respect the hard work. Love the hard work. Fireshine, today we're here at the PMSL EU final stage. It's good, isn't it? It's good. How do you feel about your male team competing here, and do you have a message for them?
Şimdi Fireshine 2025 PMSL Avrupa Bahar finalindeyiz. Buradan erkek takımınız için, Bushido Wildcats Next Ria için özel bir mesajınız var mı? Onlara böyle söylemek istediğiniz, onları motive edecek, haydi çocuklar yaparsınız gibi bir şey var mı söyleyeceğin?
Erkek takımımız zaten şu an ligde domine ediyor. Yani eğitimlerden gördüğümüz kadarıyla. Sonuna kadar arkasındayız. Onlar şu an şampiyon olsunlar. Biz de Kadınlar Ligi'nde şampiyon olalım. Takımımıza bir sezonda 2 şampiyonluk getirelim.
So the males team, the men's team they're dominating this season. And her dream that she knows that they're going to win this year too, and she wants to be victorious as a female team too. So they want to bring 2 cups in 1 year.
I love that. Hey, again, we said it's going to happen. We can feel it. It's a good vibe here. Lastly, Urkia, what would you like to say to the young girls and the female players watching you right here, right now?
Öykü, sizi izleyen genç kızlara buradan ya da kadınlara ne söylemek istersin, onları motive edecek bir şeyler? Biz yaptık, siz de yaparsınız gibi.
Şanslarını denesinler. Bir sonraki sezon için hazırlansınlar. Ve aslında yapabileceklerini görsünler. Çok da zor bir şey değil bizim aramızda olmak.
They should take their chances. They can do it. Like, şey diyorsun değil mi? Biz yaptık, onlar
Siz
da
de
yapabilir.
yaparsınız.
So they did it, you can do it too.
Yes.
Inspirational, inspirational. Now, before we lose you both as well here, and we go into our next match, Kelme, one of the partners here at the show, have given you some wonderful gifts to take away with you as well. We're going to hand these over to you. That's there for you. That goes with your dress. It's perfect. That's there for you from Kelme. And look, enjoy the rest of your time here, and here's to a glorious future as well.
Sponsorumuz gelmeden, şimdi Öykü ile Fahir Şahin'i göndermeden özel bir hediye
Teşekkürler.
biz var.
Çok teşekkür
Thank
ederim.
you very much.
Şimdi 3. maça geçeceğiz. Karşılaşmalardan sonra tekrar ödüllerimiz devam edecek. Şimdi sizlerden bir alkış Öykü ve Fahir Şahin için. Teşekkürler. Şimdi tekrar analiz masasına dönüyoruz. 3. maça geçeceğiz. Tankut ve Scarlett, sizdeyiz bir kez daha.
Thank you very much for the interview there with the Bushido Wildcats Next Ruya female team, who want to be making waves there, and hopefully whatever they were given in those bags of secrets is going to help them on their way.
Turkish
to
delights.
greatness.
Likely.
Are you talking about the bags or our lovely co-host on the stage? He's a Turkish delight. Love that. Okay, let's talk about the bags. What? He's a nice guy. He's getting on great.
Do you know him personally?
He just seems like it's just the vibes, you know. It's just the vibes I'm getting. He's a nice guy.
All right.
You know?
All right. Yeah, it could be. It could be. All right. I need to meet him. I'd need to meet him.
All
So
right,
far, you know, he's been doing pretty well.
Yeah,
But I need to meet him.
yeah. Okay, cool. Good opener from from your man on the stage. Yeah, good to hear that they were very keen to not only make waves in the female scene, but maybe one day step up with the teams here at the PMSL Europe. We'd love to have them if they can qualify. We'll be seeing them soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will. I mean, honestly, I think the coolest thing for me to hear from that was the fact that whenever they were asked about having a stage exclusively for women, they flipped the script on it and just said, look, it's nice and all, but realistically, what we want is to be here, winning against these teams, right? Like S2G, like Regnum Car. And I thought, you know what, that's a goal and a half, and fully support you in it. Go for it, make it happen. So I hopefully one day that could be the case. Again, they are quite competitive, and again for BWNRX, I reckon they'll be cheering them on similarly, so they can take both of those trophies home. But yeah, cool stuff.
Well, let's refocus back over towards the PMSL finals that have been unfolding for us to our delight and delectation over the last 2 matches. Obviously, a massive chicken dinner coming through from S2G, putting up 17 elims. A 27-point game sees them far and away into the lead. They'll be very, very happy to be able to have earned that one nice and early. We were saying, after their first match, they had a tough time. Let's hope they can bounce back. They really definitely did, right? They absolutely came out swinging. And it wasn't like they were being too passive in their location, right? They took control of their location. They were fighting out, and granted, teams did throw themselves in, as you said before, like fish who do throw themselves into things. And they were able to pick up those points, but they were able to execute on that, right? They would be able to hold a firm blockade on the teams who thought, we'll crash and then fight one of the directions. S2G was like, well, you're not coming in here, mate. That's our ground. We're holding it. And they did that very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they had a pretty extraordinary approach over towards the chopsticks area. It would have been nice to see a little bit more of how they got themselves into that spot. And I'm sure we'll probably recap that at some point tomorrow. But overall, very, very good game. I think Regnum Kaya having all that space over towards Eastern chopsticks, it was weird. They weren't able to quite make that one happen. Again, moving out from there was difficult for them. For Boars, though, there definitely was a potential, right? They only had to hold so many angles. And I think that initial shot from Hamzy G, I think the fact that he is so accurate and so good, losing that flex slot, just that flex angle really does just hurt Boars massively, right? Not being able to have that angle over towards them and hold them in place allows S2G to effectively like flow out from the left side and then just sweep round. So yeah, for Boars, it was just a mismanaged endgame. And I do think it is a bit of that overconfidence, that boldness that comes back to bite them.
I think I'd agree. I mean, they only had that one-off angle as well. I think as soon as they'd taken down Sarah, they could have flexed out over the whole field a little bit more, potentially made a little bit of a mad dash. I think they must have been quite low on smokes, right? Because if I'm Boars in that scenario, I'm smoking the rim of the bunker that S2G were holding and allow you to push out a little bit further, right? Sure, Sarah can ping away, but you put a nade there, you know where he is, you know where he got knocked. If you have a little bit more utility in those final moments of Boars, that fight goes completely differently. Because as it was, they had nothing to stop S2G just rolling straight over them as soon as they got that first pick.
Yeah, it was also weird because Boars ends up nading out one of the players from Barside. I think he nades out Elvis on the side. It might have been Nihat.
I think it was Nihat. I think it was Nihat.
Yeah, so Boars actually nades them out. And that provided the opportunity for S2G to walk up. So there's a lot of things that went wrong there for Boars. And again, it's because they're very elimination hungry. They do have a bit of that rage in them. And sometimes rage leads way to stupid mistakes.
Well, it's not a mistake. Let's head to the stage.
Well, I believe it's still on us. So
okay.
we're not actually heading to the stage host. Hello again. We do return. So we're just on board with the players as they're getting ready for the next game. And they all look very ready to me. He's maybe might need a nap, potentially.
I mean, any moment you can grab, right? Try and get it done. Get rested. Get recuperated.
As always. Oh, they're pulling the chairs in.
Yeah, K1 looking pretty chill.
Yeah, Love Heart's been thrown up as well.
I think that's Capri's on the far end and then Vic close to the camera. Having a good time.
Look at you. Naming and shaming. Yeah, we're ready to get into this. One player currently has a network problem. I think last time that happened was around about 20 minutes. Hopefully it will be less. I think we've been told 3 minutes. But we will wait and see. Goodness me, there's a lot of tired faces
Was
in
that
the arena
Narvalo as well?
at the moment.
Or was that someone else?
It was Narvalo. Yeah, it was Narvalo.
It's classic French yawn there.
It's identifiable.
Yeah, you can tell.
There's a lot of angry faces going on.
Oh no, that's. Oh, I don't know about that one. This one,
Yeah, everyone seems quite
sullen,
yeah.
quite moody. There's a
S2G
mood.
seem quite happy. There is a bit of a mood. Definitely a mood in the studio.
Shall we look? See who looks like they've got a lot of refs around them.
I want to see who's
causing problems.
looking restorative. Who doesn't look sleepy?
Okay.
Well, I want to know.
Oh, whoa. Okay, I think we found them. Regnum Kaya looking pretty active now.
Well, I mean, they didn't have a gigantic travel day, I imagine.
That's
from
true.
where they are in the world.
A lot of our team's Turkish, meaning well, I mean, to be fair, Turkey is a big country, right? So depending on where you're from in Turkey, you've probably still got a big travel day.
Yeah, maybe. I give you that. And this looks like headsets on.
Oh, from some of our players.
There
anyway.
we go. Beautiful.
Looks like our match is just about to get underway. It is another dose of Erangel for you. We shall administer it to you shortly. Unto your eyeballs shall be delivered one more grassy pasture, followed by another as well. After that, we got 3 total on the trot. Oh, I'm seeing that lobby loading. Headphones are on. I think you might be onto it, Blank. I think you might be right. Now, let's think about it again. It's Pachinki on the hot drop. That's what I'm going to be looking out for to see if things go the way of the Falcons once more.
I don't think it will. Again, I think for... I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. When it happens, it happens.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. Let's talk about some more important teams. So, for instance, Regnum Car and S2G, I want to see them get back into the top 5 again. I think both teams are extremely good at the game. I think they deserve to be at the top of the lobby. So I'm expecting to continue to do well. I don't want Regnum Car to feel too disheartened after that last game, where for them, it felt like they were just on the wrong side of the chopstick. Oh, that's a shaky finger right there.
Oh, Thunder Talk. It's got a lot of love. Got a lot of love to give. And it's for me. Oh, well, I'm supposed to be quiet. No.
Don't be shushing us.
I'm supposed to be talking. It's literally my job. Can't be shushing me.
Yeah, won't be having that.
I know. That's what I'm here for. Whoa, what happened there? Goodness me.
Camera had to move.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their... You know what I wish players would do?
What do you
Which
wish?
I know they never will.
What do you wish players would do?
But they all get like these ergonomic pillows,
Yeah?
but none of them put any cases on them. And it really bothers me.
What do you mean? Oh, pillowcase.
they're all-
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. What did you think I meant?
Phone cases. And I was like, what?
Like a suitcase.
I don't know. Yeah, I was like,
Suitcase for
I have no idea what that could mean.
No one's protecting their pillows. Well, technically they're not. But yeah, they're all just the stock white pillow.
I got raw pillows.
Yeah. Why? You know what would be a really good thing? See, that's nice. Cole's got a nice dark green
Oh, yeah.
case on it.
Okay. Oh, plane path. They're going to Pachinki. They're Falcons Pachinki. They're sticking to it.
I don't think you guys are. I don't think you guys are. I mean, hopefully they can win this next fight out first. But yeah, what would be a cool thing for teams to do is to create their own team-themed pillowcases for the players.
Ooh, okay. I can see that. It's not too hard as well. You could just screen print, right? Onto a...
And do you know what they could call them?
I'm prepared to be disappointed, but yes, go on.
Pillow jerseys.
That's really bad.
What do you think?
I was prepared to be disappointed.
Think I could go on Shark Tank with that?
I think you could jump into a Shark Tank with that. That is terrible.
What? No, that's amazing. It's mega. Actually mega.
I don't know about that one. No, veto.
Do not veto it.
Nah, you got to pivot that business idea. That's a loser. You had me all the way up into the name. If you guys in chat, if you have a better name for Blank's pillowcase business for our teams, he's pretty happy with the time there. Our ref, thank you very much. Time to get started.
PJ...
That's why he's just checked the clock. And it's time to dive on into Erangel.
PJR us. You know, PJR us.
No.
That could be really good.
No, I couldn't.
Come on. Tell me you don't want to invest.
Yes.
I'm looking for an angel investor in the chat.
any angel investors in the chat for Blank's team?
Please stand up.
Business for
211 in the crowd, please.
Seat number 409. Goodness me.
That's it. If you weren't here earlier, you won't get that. If you were here earlier, you got
joke
that.
is not for you.
Nice one.
Oh dear.
10 out of 10.
Plane path from Primorsk up towards Stalber here, and the Falcons. He was pointing to it. Koa is locked in for Pachinki. They are out nice and early over it, and they will have potentially a contest. Will Papra Supermassive go somewhere else, or will they once more reach
They're underneath him.
a terminal position?
Yeah, they're underneath him right now, so both teams going for a Pachinki once again. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
No further explanation needed, really.
There really isn't. I think for Papra Supermassive as well, this is Falcon spot. It's hard to deny it, right? That this is Falcon spot on the map. Has been for a long time. Throughout all internationals, you know, teams could probably...
Oh
dear.
Oh, BWNRX.
I mean,
Losing
it
an
looked
outpost to a
really
knife fight.
bad, by the way. Zedwolf had slashed most of them to bits.
Yeah, but unfortunately the claw's not quite sharp enough in a 1 versus 4 with K1. As we have Pachinki in our sight lines here. They will go for it once again, but this time, no early knocks.
And that assisted Falcons a lot. The last time was getting that early knock on board and then pushing the advantage from there.
Oh God, you're
Now
right. Look at K1.
Yeah, dude. He actually almost 1v4'd them.
In a knife fight.
In a knife
In a
fight.
garage.
That's it. Any tags, and it will just be a full team wipe. Like, they
my
really
goodness
don't
me.
need a lot. Like, Marceau doesn't realize it, but he was so close. I think he tagged them a little bit as well.
Oh my goodness me. I think he tagged them through their other player. That is so, they are so low. This is a breath of... Don't crash. Oh my God, if they crash. They've got to be so careful. Oh, he's chasing. CEO Later's chasing, and they don't have weapons.
I mean, again, it's just 1 or 2 tags.
There it
That's
is.
all they need. Kavic's down. CEO is like, wait, these guys are hella low.
He just wants this flush as well.
I guess he will. I want to see a replay on that fight between Zedwolf and K1.
One dude nearly slashed up an entire squad in a garage with a knife. It is crazy, and K1 have lost 2 players because of it.
Yeah, it's one of the few times where we get to say you absolutely should have brought a gun to that knife fight, right?
Maybe, hang on, maybe. Did Zedwolf pick up a gun?
I don't think so. I think
And then run out of ammo?
The way it looked, right? Because they were all on such equal amounts of HP, I think he was just carving them up.
I mean, I feel like you might be right.
The fact we don't have a replay on that is sad as well, man. I would love to have seen a replay.
I'm going to have to scrub back in the VOD when it comes up.
Yeah.
See if I can zoom and enhance.
We caught just the back end of it.
By the way, in the meantime, Falcons and Papara Supermassive have not died.
I mean, Falcons take a little bit of a tag. A bit of a tag,
but,
that's
you
about
know,
it.
What's a little bit of damage between friends, between neighbours?
I mean, 2 of your players going down for K1, apparently. Imagine. Just imagine for a second.
I'm imagining.
That Zedwolf did take them all out. That,
That would
actually, that would be undisputed player of the year.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Like,
It would have been played on highlights for years to come.
there's no coming back from that as well for K1. Imagine just getting humbled like that. Just getting it fully sat
Yeah,
by Zed Wolf with a knife.
I'm so sad about it.
You wanted him to get at least 1 point for that, right?
No,
And
I just kind of wanted him to just win the whole thing. The funny thing is that I think if he had, if he'd had at least even one more slash onto one of them, and it hadn't been a case of them trading turns on the old blade dance with Zed Wolf, probably would have 1v4'd because it's one less blade to deal with.
Okay. It's one fewer, but yeah, I take your point.
One less?
It's one fewer in this instance. It is a discrete value
Is it?
rather than continuous. Yeah, means that you say fewer instead of less.
One fewer blades.
One fewer, yeah.
Doesn't sound right.
One fewer blade to deal with.
One
You'd go
fewer-
singular.
I said one less blade. One
Fewer blade.
One less blade.
It's
Can't
one
believe
fewer
you.
blade is